red.
One
Which,
time.
That's a good shift. It feels like it's cheaper if you just bring your own. And then Bink was looking for some more chew.
Yeah.
And you were expecting him to go out and get you some. And he said, no, Bink, not happening today.
I offered yesterday, and Bink didn't need it. But I offered you. If you knew that you were low, Bink, you could have just said, yeah, go ahead.
You know what? I came in, I said, you know what? Drew likes to go to Quick Trip. I'll give him the cash for it. And you know what? I was even going to get you something. I was like, go ahead and get your Mountain Dew on this and get Alex something. And say, get Alex some Reese's or something. I was going to give you money and Alex and me to get the chew. It was going to be a nice gesture by me, but no more.
This is why you don't assume. Well, because the one random time that I decide, you know what, I'm not going to go out.
It's the first time in 2 months, I will say, that you haven't gone. You haven't gone to Quick Trip.
That's a stretch.
Are you going to be okay with that? Like, does Dusty have some for you?
No, I'm going to run out at some point.
Dusty's got some Zins maybe for you or something like that.
Dustman will help me on.
Yeah,
actually,
he just gave you the middle finger.
Yeah, I know he did. This is what we used to do.
Bink, watch it. We're on stream.
Oh,
jeez. I have no idea if it caught it. No. I have no idea if it caught you or not.
Completely forgot about the stream. I love it. I don't know if it caught it, but that's great.
If it did, please go back and screenshot. Somebody go back.
That's great. Well, we're off to a great start on a Tuesday.
Greetings, Dustman.
Coming up in about 30 minutes, we're going to have the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, join us. He does every couple of weeks. Obviously, a ton to get into with him. I want to ask him about players-only meetings and what's that like as a general manager when you hear your players are holding a meeting like that. What's the first reaction? Obviously, there's some rumors out there about potential trades that maybe they're at least calling on some teams. So a lot to get into with JJ Picollo coming up in 30 minutes. You guys can always hit us up on the Chase Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. The video stream also up and running. Now, I don't know what happened on the video stream, but it is up and running. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, make sure you subscribe. That way you don't miss any of the shows here on 96.5 The Fan.
Great starts.
You're safe, Bink. It just missed.
Oh, dang it.
It was away from the camera,
That's
too.
That's disappointing, actually. I was hoping it was going to be on there.
But you know what, though? I can do this because it's on the internet. So
technically
you can do whatever you want.
You can, so if you want to flip somebody off later, go for it.
Cuss, we can do whatever we want.
Let's talk Chiefs to start,
I like
though.
to cuss and hit the dumb button so Drew freaks out.
Yeah, Bink's in a good mood, though, because minicamp does start today. And the only question I have, otherwise what is normally kind of a boring thing, is Trey Smith, right? We know he's less than a month away from the franchise tag deadline, or the long-term deal deadline. He already signed the franchise tag, I should say. And if he holds out, he'd be out about $100,000, $105,000 if he would miss all 3 days of mandatory minicamp. Is he showing up today? We saw their social media team put out like their media day yesterday that they were doing, and it looked like part of the video you saw Trey Smith there. So I think
smiling
in Kansas City. The question would be: is he doing the old hold-in, or is he actually practicing?
You mean like a Shamar Stewart
today? Well, no, Shamar Stewart doesn't even have a contract. So
I know, but he still shows up.
This is at least a franchise tag has been signed. He is an employee still of the team, but we see nowadays guys do these hold-in things. Do you think Trey Smith is actually going to practice today? That's really the biggest question I have for these 3 days.
No.
It's minicamp.
No, I don't think he does. And I think they're good with that because they know what he can do, and I think they're good with that. I don't think he practices.
You think at this point in time it's just understood? Now, Andy was asked about it last week, and he basically was like, we'll see kind of thing.
Oh, he hates contract type stuff. I mean, that's the one thing that Andy really
himself.
hates. Yeah. So you're not going to get a lot of contract stuff, but they know what he can do. So even if he misses these 3 days, big deal. I mean, seriously, in the grand scheme of things.
I agree.
I like mini camps. You know, it's tongue-in-cheek. Ha-ha, I like them. By the way, the Rams are in Hawaii doing that. I mentioned that yesterday, but they're
camp.
Actually over there.
Yeah, they're calling it Maui camp.
Maui camp, yeah.
Yeah, look, I think for him, if he doesn't show up or if he does the hold-in thing, totally understandable. I mean, that's just how this stuff usually operates. You're trying to protect yourself, even though there's no pads on or anything like that. You don't want to jeopardize anything in the future. I think at this point, it still seems like it's been very, very cordial, that both sides want to get a deal done. It's a totally different situation than what you brought up, what's happened in Cincy with Trey Hendrickson or Micah Parsons publicly. There's been no, to this point, public bad-mouthing, anything like that. Everybody
It's
wants
been
to
all professional.
Everybody wants to get it done. Now, he has signed the franchise tag, so you know kind of where the number's got to start. You know it's got to start at that number if you're looking on a per-year basis. The question is it a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal? I think we've been consistent on the timeline for this. While it's, July 15th or so, I don't really start thinking it heats up contract-wise for Trey Smith until July 1st. Then you're inside of 2 weeks. At that point, you're 3.5 weeks away from heading up to St. Joe. It starts to get real at that point. Deadline, spur action. We all know that this happens all the time. I still think something gets done, mainly because, one, he's already signed the franchise tag, so you kind of know the dollar amount. The other thing is, it would be a massive failure if you traded Joe Thuney and you did not get a long-term deal done with Trey Smith. That would be a complete disaster.
The Trey Smith deal is an interesting one, too. For one, as soon as they draft him, he's got 2 rings, and he's been to nothing but the Super Bowl his whole career. He's got 2 rings, and then he lost that, last year? We're talking about a 6th-round pick. 6th round. He thought he was going much earlier. And like I said, I never forget during the Zoom, because it was during Zoom calls then with the players at that point, he had the Chiefs draft hat on. And I thought that was interesting for a 6th-round pick to have the Chiefs hat on, because usually those are built for, guys in the 1st and 2nd round to have those. They're sent all the hats. But clearly, it was presumed he was going to go much earlier. But he cut a break, and the Chiefs took a chance on him. And I think that there's this mutual respect between the two, between Trey and the Chiefs. Like, hey, man, this team took a chance on me in the 6th round. Other teams are passing on me like crazy. They took me. I got 2 rings for him. That's why I think it's a cordial deal. He does a lot of stuff in the community in Kansas City. He really, really likes being a Chief. They took a chance on him. I just think, and then clearly, this is a business deal. I get it. But I think there's this mutual respect between Trey and the organization. He was in the Hallmark movie that you were in last year.
He was, yeah.
Trey Smith has been a Chiefs guy. Anything they've asked him to do, he does it. He goes out with Mitch to Central Kansas and does all those things, but he's been kind of a company guy.
I agree with you.
So
totally.
I just don't see this, being acrimonious at all between the two.
It's not only important to get it done because of what we mentioned, just the decision you made earlier in the offseason to say, hey, he's the guard we're keeping. We're going to let Joe Thuney go to Chicago. We're going to trade him to Chicago, I should say. Not that he's not a high-quality player, but you're going with the age thing and everything else. The other reason why it's so important for them to get this done is we all know that there are other guys that they need to make decisions on or would like to maybe get a deal done. Most notably, Trent McDuffie, who is one of the faces of this franchise now and will be over the next, hopefully, 5+ years. And Karlaftis. But if we're doing order, I think McDuffie is next up.
Here's the problem. Veach has kind of created this himself. And it's good and bad. Because Veach takes chances on guys like a Trey Smith in the 6th round, all of a sudden you might be paying him more than any player in the National Football League, right? Like he drafted like Creed Humphrey and all this highest-paid center in the NFL. Not even a first-round pick. So what I'm saying is he's doing well in the draft. Yeah, forget some of the misses. Yeah, that happens with everybody. But he's doing so well in the other rounds that all of a sudden it's payday for these guys. Now, McDuffie's different. It's first-round pick. I get it. So is Karlaftis. But his guys that aren't first-rounders are getting paid like first-rounders. Look at L'Jarius Sneed. What do you mean? What, a 4th-round pick? And you turn around and flip him to Tennessee. That's a byproduct of being good at what you do. It's a byproduct of being good at the draft. And all of a sudden, that's the catch-22 of it, because now you got to pay them all. Like, not only you draft them and they're achieving team success. And like Trey, he's got 2 rings, been to nothing. He's been to nothing but Super Bowls in his career. That's impressive. And this is what these guys do. So they end up getting more money in the open market because Veach takes a chance on these guys, and he ends up having to pay them like a first-rounder. But that's what happens when you draft so well.
I thought it was interesting, though, if we back up to early March, I guess it would have been, when they traded Joe Thuney and you knew that, okay, they're tagging Trey Smith. The thought then, at least I had, and I think Cody agreed with me at the time, I don't know where you were at on it, Bink, was, oh, if they did this, they're going to get this deal done pretty quick. They must think they're pretty close. And then, so fast forward, here we are. We're talking they're less than a month away from the deadline. And then Brett Veach had his pre-draft, Zoom call or whatever, and he was asked about the Trey Smith situation. And he was also on this show just a day or two before, or a week or so before the draft. And he kind of said, Trey's agents are really busy. They got a bunch of clients before the draft, which yes, but that is, if there's a deal to be had, there's a deal to be had. That told me that there was clearly, they're like, all right, let's just pause this thing for a little bit. We're not very close. that was interesting to me. I'm still right now, if you're asking me to make a bet, do they get a deal done? Yes, I still think they get a deal done as well. But
and the other bad part is
thought it would
you're not
already
getting
have
the
been
fifth-year
done.
option on a lot of his picks because they're not first rounders. You know what I'm saying? So that's an issue.
Trey, do you think Trent McDuffie gets a deal done before this season? Like, if they get Trey done, let's say it's July 12th or something, 3 days before, whatever the deadline, do you think we're up in St. Joe early August or so, mid-August, and they get a deal done a week or two before the season, or no? Because Sauce Gardner's waiting for a deal out there.
I can see him waiting on it, too. But also, I can see him getting it done with the Trent. Because, again, Trent McDuffie's seen nothing but success with this team. That's the problem. They all have.
We're going to talk some more Chiefs football a little bit later on during the Chiefs Red half hour as well. Also, don't forget, 20 minutes away, if you're just joining us, we'll have the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, join us. We'll ask him about that players-only meeting and where they're at in terms of looking outside the organization. How aggressive are they going to be? There's a couple reports out there suggesting they've been calling around maybe for some outfield help. So are they buyers, sellers? What's in? I don't think it's as simple as just saying they're a buyer. Are they a buyer to only help 2025 is in Riddles? Or are they a buyer of, hey, we'll make a move, but it's got to be somebody that has control in 2026 as well?
You expect one guy, multiple guys, because we don't think one bat would do it.
Right. So JJ will join us in just a bit. Josh Vernier was on with Fescoe and Dusty yesterday, and he said that the Royals need to drop the green flag, meaning start buying now. And as I said, there's some reports out there. I want to read you one suggesting kind of maybe what they're looking at this point in time, and then we'll ask JJ about it in a little bit. But there's report from Jim Bowden out there, and he's always good around the trade deadline in terms of some of the rumors that are out there. He now writes for The Athletic, and he said, quote, "The Royals are shopping for corner outfield help and realize they'll probably have to trade one of their top catching prospects, Blake Mitchell, Carter Jensen, or
one and two in the organization.
Ramon Ramirez, to make it happen." And so we all know the issue with the outfield. It was a huge talking point in the offseason. Clearly, their plan backfired. MJ Melendez is in AAA, and Hunter Renfroe is not on a single baseball team, I don't think, anywhere in baseball. He was DFA. I don't think anybody else has signed him since that I can remember. So clearly, that's an area. The question with this is, do you want them trading a top prospect in Blake Mitchell or Carter Jensen, somebody that has a great chance to help this team very soon, because Salvador Perez has a club option next year, and then after that, he's probably not with the organization in 2 years. So
the hardest thing with Carter is being a local guy, too. There's a lot of, people have a lot of feelings because he went to Park Hill High School.
There's people that have compared Blake Mitchell, given the fact he plays the catcher position, but in terms of his bat, people are saying Bryce Harper. I'm serious.
I know.
Those are
Blake's a stud, man.
So that's the type of player we're talking about. Now, you have to be willing to trade something to get something. We know this game, and sometimes teams value prospects too much. But I'll ask you, if I tell you that it's a player, let's say an outfielder, that they can trade for that also has control beyond 2025, then I'll listen. But I do not want them trading Blake Mitchell, let's say,
rental player.
for Ryan O'Hearn, okay? No, I'm completely out on that.
I'm for making moves, and you look at the big picture. I'm a big fan of pushing all in, of course, but the bottom line is you have to look at this pitching staff, and you think, all right, is it going to be this good again? This is a pitching staff that can get you through the postseason. This is a pitching staff that be very dangerous in small series in the postseason. It just is. It's very good at what it does. Again, only 2 American League teams have a better ERA as starters, 3 as relievers. Is it going to be this good again? And with the additions of bats, because we've seen teams turn it around. The Orioles won 11 out of 15 or something. I know that they're way behind in things, but teams do turn around and get on a roll. Mentioned Cleveland, Minnesota. The Royals are 2-8 in their last 10. So is Cleveland, Minnesota. These things happen in baseball. These streaks go back and forth. Can the Royals get on a streak with those bats, because you don't want to waste the pitching?
Yeah, well, here's so they're right now 3 back or whatever of a playoff spot. If you still believe this year's team can get it done and get there, they have to go trade for an outfielder or an offensive weapon, right? They have to do that. If you're obviously out on it and you just think it's already done, and then of course you're saying you want them to be sellers. And as I've said, I think they can make that determination in 3 weeks. The selling aspect settles itself at some point in time. Also in this piece, though, from Jim Bowden over at The Athletic, here's what I'm interested in, because I told you I'm out on the trading a top prospect for a Cedric Mullins or a Ryan O'Hearn if somebody, or they're both free agents at the end of the season. I do not want that. You can trade for those players. Do not trade away a top prospect for a rental with where you're at. Now, in the piece, it mentions the Marlins, though. Here's where this could be more, I think, a way to help this year's team, but also still help out 2026 and beyond. So In the piece, it says, however, the Marlins will listen to inquiries on their corner outfielders this summer since teams like the Padres and Royals might overpay for Kyle Stowers, and then I think it's Jesus Sanchez. Stowers is 27, hitting 276, 10 homers, 65 games, 7, I think it's like 3 controllable years left. Sanchez, I'll admit, I do not know how to pronounce his last name, is also 27, hitting 257, 6 home runs, 7 steals in 50 games. He's got 3 years of club control remaining. Those are far more intriguing to me. Now, they're going to cost more because they have club control left. But that is the type of move I would want them to make. I do not want them trading assets of the future for pieces that are half-season rentals.
So you're out on a Suarez?
Yes.
Somebody like that?
Well, if for a top prospect, Bink, if you tell me that, let's just say in this hypothetical, Seth Lugo,
because he's 33, is an unrestricted.
If you want to tell me they could trade Seth Lugo in a deal for somebody that's a riddle with another piece on top of it that's in the future, yes, I would be on board for that. But
Suarez
I'm not trading
is a rental that I don't think you'd have to give a big piece for.
Right. So I'm not trading the number 2 prospect in your system for a guy that's here for 3 months. Not doing that.
No, I wouldn't do that either. I don't think the Diamondbacks would ask for that for Suarez.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what they would ask. But you were just asking. You were just asking what
I'm just saying that that's an option just because he is a free agent after the season, and he's 33.
Yeah.
But he's clutch. You're not going to be enamored by the average, but the power's there. Dude's got 3 grand slams. His team could use some of that fortune.
JJ Picollo is going to join us in 15 minutes. We'll ask him about some of the reports out there that they're calling around. Let's just keep this in perspective, too, though. They have 25 games left before the All-Star break. And then, of course, after that, what would that be? Another 10 or so before the trade deadline-ish, whatever.
And you finish right with the Mets right before the break, I think.
Texas, right? They start tonight. Then the Padres, Tampa, Dodgers, Mariners, Diamondbacks.
And by the way, Tampa's on a roll, too.
Pittsburgh.
Like, Tampa's on a roll. You know they're only 2.5 games back from the Yankees at this point? Tampa's playing some ball. We know San Diego is in L.A., but, yeah.
Pittsburgh and the Mets were the other two during the next 25.
Pittsburgh is a get healthy team.
Every single one of those teams, but Pittsburgh has a better record.
But they still lose.
Than the Royals.
The Skeens will go out and put one hitter, but they'll still find a way to lose.
Drew's over there laughing. Hey,
what's so funny, Drew?
Finally got to the end of it there. Yeah. Pirates are the only team that the Royals have a better record than. That's what I was trying to get to there.
Yeah. Skeen's been very good, but he might win the Cy Young 6 games under 500.
Yeah, that whole situation is just a mess just because it's very clear the frustration that he already has. But no, I was talking on the Royals and just with the schedule. This is what they have before the All-Star break. So, how much faith do you have a team that has struggled against quality teams this season that they can put themselves in a position where you want them to truly be a buyer? But I also don't think being a buyer is not as simple as just flat out saying buyers or sellers. There's different layers to it. There's different types of buyers, different types of sellers, which is kind of what we were alluding to. You can be a buyer for rental or you can be a buyer for pieces of the future. And so while a lot of texts we get are, hey, they should sell, I think you can kind of do both. You can be a buyer for the future and also sell for the short term, if that makes sense, versus being a buyer for the short term and selling, for a long-term piece. That there's different layers to it. It's not as simple as just buying and selling.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough schedule, no question about it. Seattle's right there in the mix with a half game out of the wild card. It's all going to be tough series coming up for the Royals. Teams like Arizona, they're sit back, 3.5 back of a wild card. So you're going against teams that still reasonably think they have a chance. Now there's Pittsburgh with 29 wins, but Oakland always had 29 wins. They have 30 now because they won last night, but they came in much worse off position than the Royals, and they swept the Royals.
Well, that's why it was an abysmal homestand. It was embarrassing. A team that truly doesn't even have a home comes into your home and sweeps you over the weekend. Now the Royals begin a road trip in Texas. All right, so also it's that time of the year where some of the All-Star balloting is starting to get released. One, you've been able to vote for a while, but the initial results are out there, the early voting and everything like that. You might have seen Bobby Wood Jr. is second right now among AL shortstops behind the guy that's probably going to win American League Rookie of the Year, Jacob Wilson, who was just in Kansas City this weekend, who's having an unbelievable season for the A's. I also noticed when they released those results, something that many people have complained about for a while, which is go back to letting the players wear their team jerseys in the All-Star game. They're finally doing that again.
It'll be this year.
So other than the Home Run Derby, the Home Run Derby will still have, they just released the AL, NL, All-Star unis, and it's kind of the same Atlanta theme to it because the All-Star game, of course, is in Atlanta this year. Down there. But I absolutely love the fact, finally, they're going back to, if Bobby Witt Jr. ends up being an All-Star or whoever you think are going to be representing the Royals, that they will be wearing the Royals uniform and hat during the All-Star game. That's the way to do it. I think all the leagues should do that, although the NFL doesn't even have.
Which one?
They're doing
Which one? Do you think they're going to wear the alternate blue or the...
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know about that.
They'll be the road team, so it's going to be the gray, the dark blue, or the...
powder blue?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't know. All that matters is wearing the Royals hat with the actual Royals uniform. That doesn't matter to me, Bink. Which one do you want them to wear, Bink? I like the powder
one they
blue.
wear for BP and the one they wear on Saturdays, and every once in a while the powder blue with the white front.
Yeah, I think the batting helmet of the trucker looking hat, or if you will, you have the trucker hat version of it. I think the batting.
I have the new Era 5950
of the
Royals batting practice hat
batting
they wear on Saturdays.
The batting practice helmet though looks better than the hat. The helmet with the shine on it looks better than the hat. I don't like the hat.
You don't like the hat?
The batting helmet of it looks really good.
Why don't you like the hat?
I don't think it looks as good on a hat as it does on the batting helmet. That's
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're rocking the camo hat today. Drew's got it. I don't know but yeah, no.
He's got Oklahoma State on his shirt.
Yes, I had an Oklahoma State shirt.
School
today.
number 30. Yes.
Yeah,
Someone says the jerseys. They're selling
Someone
says they're selling the gray jersey with the All-Star patch.
It's definitely not a Pacers hat.
No, it's not.
We're going to talk NBA Finals at some point. Drew's definitely not rocking his Pacers today after yesterday.
A Sirs.
Yes, sir. Tough loss.
What is that hat?
It's just a generic Nike hat.
Oh, it's not a hat to go with the Oklahoma State shirt?
No, I don't have college hats. I don't do college hats.
When's your publication come out?
August. I wait until like the week before the season because I do it all by myself. I don't have people who do it with me or
you don't
for
have staff?
me or anything. No, I do not.
Have you started it?
Yeah, I started it in probably October of last year.
Good. It's a great publication. I love it.
Thank you.
It's a digital thing, but
yes.
Have you seen his stuff?
Oh, he's done it for a couple of years.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's done it for a couple of years. I
told him to start selling it.
He spends a ton of time doing it.
He was doing it for free, and I was like, "What are you doing, man? Make some cash."
Are you committing to buying multiple issues for him?
No, I'm his friend. I'd want it free, but I'm saying that you should sell it. I expect it free, but
you're already laying it out there. That's good.
You should give him one free too.
Someone says you shouldn't be wearing any Oklahoma-related stuff while the Pacers are playing a team from
it's
Oklahoma.
True. I didn't think of that.
It is very true. Text line. You're
if I was wearing
correct.
an Oklahoma Sooners, if I was wearing Oklahoma Sooners gear, that makes sense.
You've switched.
Because Norman is a suburb of Oklahoma City.
I know, but you're wearing. Oh, you have Oklahoma on your shirt right now, and you're a Pacers fan. That's messed up.
Yeah, it is. You've switched. I'm shocked you don't have like a Florida Panthers jersey on today.
I think people. It's a. So somebody
you have
could
to admit, it's a fair point.
So somebody could have gone to Oklahoma State and they could wear a Pacer and they could be on the Pacers, but they can't. Heaven forbid they wear an Oklahoma State shirt.
If you told me like Tyrese Halliburton played for Iowa State, but if you told me Tyrese Halliburton played for Oklahoma State or Oklahoma, there's no chance he's walking in with a shirt that has Oklahoma on it during the NBA Finals. No chance. No chance. That's all. All right, up next, let's talk some more Royals baseball. The general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, joins us. We'll ask him about the reports that they are looking for outfield help and how do they approach the rest of this month now that this team sits 3.5 games, or 3 games back, I should say, in the wild card race. That's up next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's Taco Tuesday time, Kansas City, and Third Street Social is bringing the flavor. Every Tuesday from 3 p.m. to close, hit the bar or lounge for our legendary $2.50 tacos and $5 house margaritas made with Jose Cuervo Tradicional Silver. Come see us at one of 3 convenient Third Street Social locations: South Plaza, Northland, and Lee Summit. Join us for steak, street tacos, cold drinks, and your favorite neighborhood vibe. Third Street Social, a part of the Summit Hospitality Group and a proud taco partner of the Cody Plus Gold Show on 96.5 The Fan.
If you're looking for that new career path, have you thought about IT? Think about IT. It's needed in every single industry, whether it's sports, healthcare, construction, manufacturing, you name it, and Centric can help you get there.
No better time in the city either. The KC Tech Council reported that there were 3,000 jobs added in IT in March alone. 3,000.
We've told you about our friend Russ Mondry and his expertise in this field. Over 16 years at Centric. He's going to help you find that career path. So go to Centric.com.
One of my favorite things to do at Hy-Vee is saving money on gas. And this weekend, I'm in luck. This Saturday, June 21st, and Sunday, June 22nd, earn a 30-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 grocery purchase at Hy-Vee. And Hy-Vee isn't just saving us money at the pump. They're lowering prices in every department. And on top of that, you can save on fuel as well. So this weekend, stock up for summer and stack up those fuel savings this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Nothing tastes better than sweet summer corn or a juicy ripe watermelon. Indulge yourself in the fresh taste of summer this Thursday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. We're rolling back prices on your favorite produce like sweet corn, 4 for $1, avocados just 69 cents, seedless grapes 99 cents a pound, candy cantaloupe $1.99, and russet potato 5-pound bags just $1.48. Stock up on all the juicy deals during the mega produce sale this Thursday through Sunday only at Hy-Vee.
Flooded bathroom? AC on the fritz? When things go wrong, you need reliable service fast. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter and take $50 off any HVAC, plumbing, or electrical repair over $200. The pros at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to fix the problem. Over 40 years experience, more than 8,000 5-star reviews, plus our exceptional service guarantee means you can trust Hamilton to bring comfort and calm back to your home. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
FanDuel is giving you even more reasons to love home runs every Tuesday during the MLB season, because with Dinger Tuesdays, all FanDuel customers get a home run profit boost. That means when you bet on moonshots, you can take your winnings to new heights. So whether it's that big blast or an Oppo Taco, FanDuel is your home for betting home runs. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex and gear up to go yard all season long. That's FanDuel.com/Alex to claim your Dinger Tuesday profit boost. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Almost Andy Reid here. Renner Garage Door has proudly served KC for nearly 70 years. Get your free estimate today. RENNER, forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
All right, we're just getting started here on a Tuesday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Jay Binkley in for Cody today. Drew Nixon producing the show. We'll get into some NFL coming up, of course, during the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll also talk more about what Major League Baseball just had this past weekend. It was Father's Day weekend. It was their best weekend attendance-wise across the league in 17 seasons.
It's huge.
So we'll talk a little bit more about what has gone into that across Major League Baseball. Obviously, the Royals were at home this past weekend, and we welcome in the general manager of the Kansas City Royals and the executive vice president of baseball ops, JJ Picollo, who always joins us here on 96.5 The Fan. Good morning, JJ. I'm curious, this is just even a question that I would ask any general manager in any sport. If you hear about players-only meetings, what's your reaction as a GM when you hear that your squad had a players-only meeting?
Well, to be honest, very, very happy that they did. You know, they're obviously feeling some pressure right now. Obviously, we're not playing as well as we're capable of playing, and you know, the coaches do as much as they can day to day. And one of the things we try to maintain is consistency in our practices, in our routines. So the coaches are always doing their part. But it means a lot more when somebody like Salvi or Bobby or Vinny, whoever, you know, was the lead voice in that. It means a lot more when it's coming from the players because they're holding themselves accountable. And I thought it was a very positive sign.
You know, one thing too, JJ, I look back, you know, in the Royals run earlier, you know, in 14 and 15, and you think about Moose and his voice, like it was always in there. And then when he started to perform and do some things, like he let that voice come out a little bit more. We saw it a lot in Houston. Do guys have to get to a certain point, or can they kind of do this whenever if they've earned that respect?
Well, I think there's very few guys that from the day they step into a major league clubhouse have the confidence to be that guy. So it does take a little bit of track record, a little bit of history, a little bit of momentum, playing well, you know, over a year or two where you can settle in and, you know, sort of be the guy that you always were. I mean, it's I mean, let's face it, most of these guys are the best players on their team their entire lives. So when they said something, if they were that emotional leader, it always carried some weight. But now you're in a major league clubhouse where everybody was the best player on their team. So you got to kind of earn your stripes before you're going to do something like that. And it took most a few years to do it. And, you know, no different than, you know, other players that we've been around over many years.
Do you think they work? Like, do you think players-only meetings can truly shift the way things are going?
Well, I think it depends on the content of the meeting and how it goes. You know, my understanding was this was a very positive meeting. There wasn't any finger pointing. It was just like, guys, we got to get going here. Like we're underperforming right now. I think it can help, you know, because again, that accountability piece is being voiced. But when it really comes down to it, you still got to play the game. You know, right now we're not playing as aggressively as we typically do. That was one of the things last year. You all remember the boys are playing some ball. That was a mantra because we were playing great defense. We were running the bases well. We were getting runners in, and the boys were playing some ball, you know, and that's something that has to happen on the field. You can verbalize it all you want, but at some point it has to become actionable. But having a meeting like that where the leaders speak up and the veterans speak up is a step in that direction, because we're acknowledging that we're not doing those things and we need to get back to it.
You mentioned the coaching, and I think when an offense is performing the way you guys are right now and really have for the entirety of the season this point in time, folks outside the organization look at the players first and foremost, but then they also start looking maybe at the hitting coaches and the philosophy in terms of the organization when it comes to that. You still have plenty of confidence in where your approach is as an organization and with the hitting coaches in place right now?
I do. I mean, we've known these guys for a lot of years. They've done a wonderful job. I mean, two of the three that are in the trenches every day, we're with these guys going through the minor leagues. They've built relationships. They have trust in each other. Players have trust in them. They feel it just as much as the players do, and they want to, wave the magic wand and try to figure out what each guy needs. But really, it's just staying positive right now, understanding the history between the coaches and the players. And the reminders. Nobody knows our current hitters as well as the guys in our batting cages every day. I mean, they live with them every day. They understand their swings. They understand what makes them tick. And now it's just a matter of trying to tweak some things here and there, but also stay positive. You've got to stay positive through these tougher times. And I know we have the right guys that will stay positive, and they put the work in every day. I can tell you this. Today in Texas is not going to look any different than last year in Texas as far as the energy and the positivity and our processes. But now the challenge is a little bit greater because the confidence, is wavering a little bit. But all it takes is one little good run offensively to get that confidence back and you just go play baseball.
Yeah, because we've seen several teams do that here at the moment. But JJ, how tough is this right now in the front office when you think about preparing for the draft? You're looking at free agents. You're looking at things. Now there's the extra wild card that we've had the last couple of years in baseball. So conceivably, a lot of teams think they're still in it. How big of a challenge is that for the front office to do that, plus all your draft work, and you're looking at these free agents? It's got to be a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I think if you ask most general managers and front offices, we really enjoyed the draft being in June. So
okay.
That's not the case anymore. But it makes for a busy month. We're getting into, this week's the combines in Arizona. Then you've got draft meetings starting the first week of July and leading up to the draft in the middle of July. And literally we'll flip our strategy room. We'll flip it over from draft to trade deadline stuff. But for our front office, a few of us, we're working parallel tracks. We're not involved day to day with the draft. We know what's going on. Some guys are out seeing players, and then we have another group that's working on trade ideas. What are we going to do at the deadline? So there's a few of us in the front office that run those parallel tracks, and we found a rhythm with it. It's not the first year we're doing it, but we found a rhythm with it, and it puts a little bit more on you, but that's what we're all dealing with. But we're no different than any other team in baseball. We're all dealing with the same thing, and it's just our responsibility to do those things and pull off a draft successfully and have a successful draft deadline. Trade deadline.
Yeah. How tough is that, though, JJ, when you look at these teams? Because, like I said, a lot of these teams still feel like they're in it. Their fan base still thinks they're in it because now with the extra wild card, you have a lot of teams that are kind of still sitting there, have to make decisions. Do they go forward or back? That's got to create a lot of confusion with front offices. And when you look at players thinking, well, is this team going to sell or not?
Yeah, no, you run that emotional high and low. You think you're going to be buyers and you think you're going to be sellers. And if you're right at 500, what do you believe that your team is going to do the rest of the year? So it is really difficult. And the hard part right now for all front offices is there are so many teams that are in it that you don't know if they're going to be buyers, sellers, or stand put. So you're going to do all your planning, but until you get to, I think it's going to be a very late, a lot of action late in July, more so than we've seen in the past. But if you have a bunch of teams that are 3-4 games out of the wild card, at the American League right now, it's really all but I think 3 teams that should believe they're going to make the playoffs. So you wouldn't expect a lot of, heavy trading to happen in early July. So I really think, when it happens, if it happens, it's going to be later in July this year.
We're talking to JJ Picollo, the general manager of the Kansas City Royals. So with that said, there's some reports out there that you guys are looking for some outfield help. Now, that isn't just because the trade deadline's the end of July, and obviously it could be an active one late, doesn't mean that moves won't happen earlier, of course. So are you guys currently looking to add to this team still and be aggressive?
Yeah, well, I think we're just trying to monitor things. I mean, nobody seems to be very active right now. I know we had the big trade the other day, and that was a very unique trade for a lot of reasons. But, it doesn't seem like teams are actively shopping players right now. So you just keep evaluating things. And what we've tried to do is let's look internally. What do we have internally that maybe can pick us up a little bit? And it may not be the big bopper like, Devers being traded. But if we can add to our offense and improve on the margins, improve our defense, improve our base running, we're going to explore that first, because there doesn't seem to be a market right now where there's an outfielder available. So guys are getting opportunities right now, whether it's John Rave, Jack Caglione, they're all getting opportunities to play. And then it gives us more time to evaluate who they are and how they can impact this team in 2025. So all that's coming into, our thoughts, our processes, and really until you get somebody that is, clearly going to be trading an outfielder, we can talk about it all we want, but we can't force another team to make a trade.
Understand your positioning, of course, in the standings can change drastically from this week to 3 weeks from now, but when you look outside the organization, though, and you at least try to maybe start those conversations, are you guys looking to make a deal or a player that can help you beyond 2025? Or is this an organization right now that's in a position that would still be willing to make a move if it only impacts 2025?
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer. I mean, I guess the best way to answer it is the preference is always to have control. I mean, that more years of control certainly benefits your organization. But when it comes down to it, who are the pool of players that are actually going to be traded, and what did their contracts look like? And when we get to that moment, I could better answer, if a rental player is all that's available. But you always set your sight, at least we do, on players that have more than a year of control. That was what we followed last year. Doesn't mean that's what we're going to do this year, but so much of it depends on the pool of players that are available that will help us shape that answer.
There's a report out within the last hour or so. I hate to put you on the spot a little bit here, JJ, that Mark Healy had a report in the last hour and a half or so that he's hearing Royals ownership has, I guess, told you to start thinking about trading some veteran talent. I guess your reaction to that is have you had those conversations?
Unequivocally false. That is as false as can be, and the accountability of that writer should be in question.
But answers that one. As far as who makes the final call, is it in the front office with you, JJ, and the scouts? Is it ownership? As far as the direction, how often do you guys have those conversations? Like, all right, do we push all in? Do we kind of wait? Who kind of makes that decision?
Well, I mean, ultimately it'll be myself, along with ownership, their thoughts on the team, but it'll be myself. But if you sat with us over the last 3 games, from the first inning to the 4th inning to the 7th inning, the conversation kept shifting. The emotions of the game get you thinking different ways, but ultimately it'll be baseball operations decision. And we always have good discussions with ownership, and just because we want them to be aware of what we're thinking and, collectively make a great decision.
Away from the trade stuff, I know a big topic of conversation amongst fans, and we had it certainly on our show yesterday, was about Noah Cameron, who has, of course, been an unbelievable bright spot for you guys as an organization since he has been called up. And fans maybe trying to just figure out, is it an organizational approach? Is it something on a game-by-game basis when you see, let's say Noah Cameron has an 80-pitch performance, and then there's another game where he goes 100 pitches, and fans are just trying to figure out, all right, why is he pulled out after a certain pitch count? Is that something where ahead of time you guys go into a game and know, hey, this is what we're going to dictate in terms of his pitch count, or is that just playing it out game by game, if that makes sense? Because I think fans are just a little confused.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, but when you're in the major leagues, it's hard to think about resting and getting guys through the season. Now, Noah's young, so we're aware of that. But the game, in particular that I think you're referring to, the matchup fell exactly the way we wanted to fall when he came out of the game. And our bullpen was well rested. We were lined up really well to finish that game. It just didn't happen. That game, it didn't go our way because of one bad pitch. But it lined up exactly how the coaches had talked about matchups and what we wanted. It had nothing to do with trying to limit Noah's pitch count. It was a decision made by Q that just didn't work out that night. John Schreiber gets through that inning clean, and now we roll to Ursig and Estevez, and we win the game. It's questioned a lot less, and it should be questioned. That's part of the manager's job. They have tough decisions to make through games, and that one just didn't work out. But that had nothing to do with trying to nurture and control what Noah's doing for big picture reasons.
I did want to ask you about Chris Bubich, JJ. This guy, I've always enjoyed Chris Bubich and what he can do, but this season has been incredible. And I think he kind of got hosed against the Yankees, to be honest with you, because I think there was a strikeout there that when the strikeout, then some other runs come. But to be sitting there at 5th in ERA in all of Major League Baseball, of course, that dropped last week because, well, I don't think it was all because of him. But just what kind of bright spots he been? Because you think about your rotation, and then how good's Chris Bubich going to be? Then when you see how good he's going to be and what he's done to this pitching staff, just kind of what's he meant to the organization. He been your kind of biggest surprise this year?
Well, we had a lot of confidence in Chris, which allowed us to be confident in trading a starting pitcher in the offseason because we felt like Chris could step in and be part of the rotation. But I would be lying if I said we thought he would be in the top 5 in baseball and how he's performing. When you look at Chris's whole body of work, we really thought he was starting to turn the corners as a starter prior to the Tommy John. Then he got hurt, he missed his time, and now he seems to – it's almost like he didn't miss any time. The command's better. He's got an additional pitch in the slider. He's always used his changeup well. He's starting to locate in on right-handed hitters at a more efficient rate than he did prior to the injury. So things are just coming together. And then you throw in sort of the X factor, and that's Chris's baseball IQ. I mean, he's a very intelligent person, period. But when it comes to his baseball IQ and trying to understand how he can execute a game plan, work his way through a lineup, I think that is something that may separate him from a lot of other young pitchers in the game. But it's been outstanding to see, and who knows where we would be without all of our starting pitchers doing what they're doing, and our bullpen pitching pretty well. Without the pitching, this may look a little more bleak than it does right now. We're still in it, and glad that the pitching's come through.
JJ Picollo, Royals General Manager, joins us here on 96.5 The Fan every couple weeks. We appreciate it, JJ. Thanks.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
There you go. That's the general manager of the Royals as they begin a road trip down in Texas. A lot of stuff there. We're going to react to it throughout the show as well. Real quick, I will play his response, though, to that report. I mean, that was obviously
he's a big fan of it.
Shutting that down right away. There was a report 2 hours ago that the reporter Mark Healy had said that the Royals ownership had told Picollo to start thinking about trading some veteran talent. This was JJ Picollo's response to that.
Unequivocally false. That is as false as can be, and the accountability of that writer should be in question.
There you go. I mean, that'll shut that thing down right away. Look, I think in terms of Seth Lugo, if this team finds themselves in a spot, let's call it 3-4 weeks from now, or closer to the trade deadline, and they are clearly in a spot where it's just not happening this year, and it's clear that they're sellers, well, then, yeah, Seth Lugo should be somebody at that point in time.
Like
but
JJ was
right
saying,
now,
it's tough to think of because you're still kind of in it, yet do you know you're in it or not? I mean, that's the things that front offices are going through.
I don't know any organization. I guess you could argue the Pirates last year, and I don't take the Pirates seriously. Any organization that being 3 games out of a playoff spot would be selling their best pitcher, second best pitcher, depending on how you want to look at it, right? Like, so that would have stunned me if they would be willing to do that already. Now, could they still eventually trade him? Yeah, I think that could happen still a month from now if the team is not going here. If they continue on this track and they have another bad road trip or so, then that's a conversation maybe that happens. But it sounds like that again has not happened at this point in time. That report is false.
I asked JJ. I'll ask you, Chris Bubich, the biggest surprise on this team? It's got to be. Yeah. I don't even think it's a question. Bubich, his performance.
Yeah,
Biggest surprise on this team, 100%.
Yeah, him and Noah Cameron have been unbelievable wins for the organization this year, and there's no doubt.
And they're homegrown, which is bodes well.
In different ways, too, in terms of, like, you go and you watch Noah Cameron. Nobody is getting blown away by his stuff, but he seems to be a very, very smart pitcher. And that way, he kind of reminds you of Seth Lugo a little bit, just in terms of how he approaches.
Not overpowering.
Like he's not a guy that's going to go strike. His strikeouts over 9 innings or I guess 7 innings is not going to impress anybody.
It's like
but
Greg Maddux.
He's been
I'm not saying he's Greg Maddux, but I'm saying he wasn't an overpowering pitcher. He wasn't. You looked at some of the staffs that he was on. He didn't throw as hard as anybody, but he was just out-thinking all the hitters. Like he was a thinking man's pitcher.
So I appreciate JJ Picollo joining us. We'll play back some of the other things they had to say about the trade market, where they're at, what confidence level they have in the hitting staff right now heading into this road trip. We'll get into that throughout the show today. We'll also just talk more about the road trip in 10 minutes or so, and what do we think the team looks like by the time they come back home? Do they get back to 500 by the time they're back at Kauffman Stadium? Those are things we'll get to. But over the weekend, Major League Baseball announced that they had their best Father's Day weekend attendance in 17 seasons. And where is baseball at just as a sport? 39,255 fans per game over the weekend. That was MLB's highest average Sunday attendance since 2008. In addition, the weekend had nearly 1.7 million fans. That was the second largest 45-game weekend in 17 seasons. So this is great news, obviously, for the sport of baseball. This is also why I hate that we are in 2 years, I think it will be, likely headed towards a potential situation with the CBA that could lead to games being missed, because it feels like baseball has some really good momentum. You've got tons of young stars.
It took McGuire and Sosa to bring him back.
Right. You have tons of young stars right now. Obviously, here in Kansas City, Bobby Wood Jr. is a star across the league. Aaron Judge is doing ridiculous things.
Except for the 9 strikeouts in the last 10 at-bats.
Yeah, I think he's okay, though. I think Aaron Judge is going to be just fine.
Is that 377?
Shohei Ohtani last night started pitching again, which was that bumped up their attendance. I saw secondary ticket prices in L.A. were up last night.
Gives up a run, and hits a double and knocks one in.
You brought up Paul Skeens already. I'm just naming a few. There's so many other stars. Jacob Wilson, what he's doing this year. That's what's disappointing is the momentum they have and the change with the pitch clock over the last couple of years. Baseball, I think, is in a really, really good spot. And you see the attendance this weekend, and then you realize that there's a CBA issue that could come up very soon. That's what stinks if I'm a fan out there, knowing that could actually kill all this momentum here pretty soon.
Yeah, that's one thing you can't let happen. I know it looks bad for baseball in a couple of years, but they can't go through this again. It took a while to come back the last time they did it. I mean, it took a home run chase.
Yeah, yep.
Took McGuire and Sosa, and that's what you had. Unless you have Ohtani, they can bring everybody back. Judge.
Yeah, I just think
they're going to be too old.
The numbers for the weekend show that those that think baseball is dying or whatever. Drew, you were referencing some numbers too from a TV perspective that even younger fans. That's always been the thing.
The 18 to 34 demographic, I think, is up a significant margin.
Yeah, that might be the biggest positive sign of everything for Major League Baseball.
Because it was the oldest fan base in all the sports.
I don't have the exact numbers. I couldn't find them, but yeah, the 18 to 34, 39 demographic saw an uptick.
Well, that's what they needed. They had to start getting younger fans to enjoy the game.
So much is the accessibility to your fans, in the TV product. We've talked about that quite a bit over the years here in Kansas City. That's a huge part of it. And I also think, I've talked plenty, Dusty and I have been talking plenty about the trading card stuff. And I know for some of you that think that's crazy, but I'm just telling you that for younger fans, the sports card thing is a huge reason, I believe, why that younger demographic is being bumped up in terms of the numbers, interest in baseball, man. There's a lot of people that love sports cards again, and then there's a lot of athletes. Sure. Jack Caglione and Bobby Wood Jr. are two of them that are very much in the hobby. And when you see a player collecting his own cards, that helps not only the value of the card, but also it gets people more into the hobby. Guys like Bobby Wood Jr. will do trades with fans for cards out at Kauffman Stadium
because
at times.
They started to lose some of that demographic they had, the older demographic. You know why?
Yeah.
I've said before, and people are like, I don't know. But people could pay cash for things. They had tickets in their hand. Then it all became the digital ticket. You may not think that stuff matters, but it does. Like the older generation, they want those tickets in their hand. They don't want to use their cell phone for everything, to purchase everything. I know it sounds silly and not the way things are going, but that old demographic that was going to baseball games, that's how they went.
Yeah.
And then everything changed on them.
Coming up next, let's talk more about the Royals. The start of a road trip. What do we think the team looks like by the time they get back to Kansas City? Can they get to 500 again? We'll also get to the trash of the day right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, summertime is here, and that means vacations, summer barbecues, outdoor parties, camping, beaches, and so much more. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're like many men, you may not be feeling like yourself this summer. Perhaps your energy is low and you aren't sleeping well. Maybe your workouts aren't as good as they used to be. And if what I'm describing is you, it's very likely you're suffering with low testosterone. But low T doesn't have to affect you anymore. Just call Heartland Men's Health, get treated, and see how it changes your life. If you're like most men, you'll feel so much better. Deeper sleep, improved vitality and clarity, greater strength and energy, and an enhanced sex drive as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Hi, folks. Bob at Blue Springs Ford. Layton, you look like you have something to say.
I do. It's our free lifetime powertrain warranty. That includes 24-hour, 7 days a week, every day of the year for 10 years, roadside assistance.
Well, that was a mouthful.
We're talking towing, fuel, oil, water delivery to you, lockout assistance, battery service, flat tire support, emergency assistance.
Folks, if you don't come see us today,
then you'll miss out on our free lifetime warranty.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about every vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty?
What about guarantees?
A lifetime warranty should handle that. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
At MLBshop.com, you can get all the latest officially licensed merchandise for you and your family. But if you really want to level up your game, you can grab something for your dog walker, your Pilates instructor, your swim coach, your neighbor, your accountant, your gardener, your best friend, your bandmate, your boss, your kid's teacher, your mailman. Visit MLBshop.com and stock up on officially licensed on-field merchandise from your favorite teams.
Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
A recent homeowner in Kansas City was trying to sell their home, and that's when they discovered Dawn Sharp. Dawn didn't just list their home, she became their trusted guide through every decision. And the Sharp Homes team can give you options as well. If you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold, then contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Ask them about their instant offer program. You can Google them at Sharp Homes Team or just pay them a visit at homesforsaleandkc.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Granger who does the same. Granger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Granger who does the same. Granger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, 11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Jay Binkley, he's in for Cody. Drew Nixon producing the show. We'll get to the trash of the day in 20 minutes.
How's he doing his dancing?
Well, it's his daughter's dance competition.
That's right.
Yes. Well, it's funny, though. He's down in Fort Worth, which is not far from Arlington, which is not far from when the Royals are playing the Rangers. I doubt it.
Sing?
I doubt it, but he he's there with his whole family, so they're probably very busy doing things. But, yeah, I mean, he's there. He could, there's a couple games to go check out the Rangers ballpark, if you wanted to check that out as well. I do not know. I texted about something else. Drew was in the group chat with us. We were texting about Cash Out Bro last night with Cody, but that was the extent of our conversation. That was it. We'll get back into some of the things JJ Picollo had to say with us. If you miss any of that interview, one, it'll be podcasted. Two, we'll re-air it in the 1 o'clock hour, but we'll also play some cuts throughout. I thought he addressed a lot of the things that fans were wondering about. I thought his answer on, really their approach to the trade market and where things are at is a reminder of how difficult at this point, though, it is to find buyers or find sellers, because everybody feels like they're in it. So, yeah, the Rafael Devers trade happened, as I said yesterday. I think that was different because of him not being happy about Alex Bregman and everything else and playing a different position. That doesn't mean that the floodgates have opened on a trade. There are reports out there that, the Royals are looking for outfield help, but the idea that they could just go out tomorrow and trade for a big-time bat, from who? And that's the issue. But also, in a weird way, let's talk about this road trip, Bink. I kind of want them to wait to see how this road trip goes from a buyer perspective. You could say, well, it's too late if they do that. Yeah, but if this road trip goes poorly and they're sitting 7 games below 500, 8 games below 500, something like that after a road trip, well, then I don't know anybody that would want them to really be buyers at that point. So this feels like a big road trip, which is why I'll ask you and everybody on the text line as well, 913-586-7965. What do we think this team looks like by the time they come back to Kauffman Stadium? Right, they're on this road trip starting with Texas. We know that tonight. And not just the record. I mean, that for starters, sure. But do you think there are any changes? Based on our conversation we just had with JJ Picollo, no, I don't think there's going to be any, staff or player type changes this week. That would be a stunner based on what we just heard from JJ Picollo.
They all got on the charter.
Yeah, they all got on the charter, but just even with the way he spoke about, they're still looking internally from a player perspective. They've obviously, I think, other than, Cam Devaney, I really don't know anybody else in the minors that you can really call up at this point. I feel like they've exercised all of that with the Rave, and maybe at some point Melendez gets back up here. And I know some fans, are skeptical about that, but that would be the only other player I could see in the minors right now that you could really look to call up at some point over the next couple of weeks.
It's just your internal guys doing something and feeling better. It's like what JJ was talking about as far as the players when they speak. Yeah, you have to be performing kind of to be that type, unless you have the cachet or the career, or a name in baseball, like Bobby, like Sal, like these guys. I mentioned Moose. Moose didn't really speak like he had it in him, but once he started playing better, he started to speak more. But, can Jack go on a run, kind of what you're seeing from Nick Kurtz or whatever, and this walk-off home runs, get some confidence going in that direction? I mentioned the Orioles winning 11 out of 15. Tampa's been on a run. They're now with 2.5 games of the Yankees. It's going to have to be internal guys taking that next step forward, like Jack. I mean, that's barely been unleashed, what he can do. Now, he can definitely make a difference with that bat in the lineup if he, is like Jack Caglione. kind of the player that he was when they drafted him, the player they expected when they called him up. But even him taking that next step. Bobby Witt getting hot again and going and taking to the next direction. So, yeah, there might be some outside help, but I think they're going to be looking internally and just their own guys. And, hey, you got to step up. This pitching staff did. They didn't let off at all. They did not let off the gas at all. The hitters did. As far as scoring runs and production, RBI, they took a step back. The pitching staff never did. But I think they'd be internally guys taking that step forward. Sal Perez started to be better. Because it is kind of getting to the point where you are what you are. You just takes the internal players to elevate their games.
Couple games against the Rangers, couple games against the Padres before you come back and you have the Rays and then the Dodgers at the end of the month
It's tough,
as well.
Man. Tough
As we went through 25 games, including tonight, till the All-Star break, and there's only one team currently that you have a better record than. As far as do they get back to 500, I don't think they're going to be back to 500 after this road trip, obviously. But if you told me that suddenly they had a road trip, a successful one, would, to me, cutting this in half, get back to where you're 2 games under 500. You're 4 right now. You get back to where you're 2 games under 500, then depending on the standings.
That's why that A series is so aggravating, man.
For sure. Yeah, but, Bink, that's where you are 3 games back of a playoff spot. If you cut your deficit in terms of 500 in half and you're 2 games under 500 by the time this road trip is over, let's say at that point that puts you hopefully 2 back or a game and a half back of a playoff spot, depending on how everybody else performs. That would be a very successful road trip. You pick up 2 games on this road trip, of course that'd be a great road trip. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would be like the most optimistic way I can look at the road trip.
You can have that, but you've got to carry the momentum when you get home. Like they've lost 6 straight series at home.
Sure.
And then when you come back, and you got Tampa and the Dodgers, these teams at home, that's where you need to make your hay when you're playing the Kauffman Stadium. The 6 straight road series losses for this team. You go back to the White Sox in early May, or this team won a homestand.
Yeah,
so a home series.
Look, the Texas Rangers heading in. I haven't looked at the odds. I'm assuming the Rangers are going to be favorites for a couple games. I mean, Lugo tonight against Jack Leiter. Obviously, that's Al Leiter's kid, right? I haven't looked at I can pull it up.
It's Lugo, Bubich, and Walker.
The Royals have been losing plenty of games when they've been a favorite, though. That's what's weird. I think Vern had the stat.
9 straight losses?
Something like that as a favorite, so it doesn't really matter. But just, what's your confidence level they ever get back to 500, though, this season? Truly. And the text line, some of you have said, not going to happen. Totally get it. Look, if they continue to perform the way they are offensively, then yeah, I don't know if they get back to 500 either. It requires, as you mentioned, guys like Bobby Witt Jr. picking it up, Vinny continuing to do what he's doing, and then can Kaggs get going too?
That's the one thing, man. If Kaggs gets going,
he's not going to be the savior. That was never what it's supposed to be. He was supposed to be a guy that gave them a huge jolt, and in addition to what they're having long term, next year, different conversation what his role is. But now it feels like in addition to Vinny Pasquantino, can you get him or Salvi? Who do you have more confidence in getting going? That Salvi just gets going and it's not father time catching up. That Bobby gets going again.
So you expect Bobby be the most likely.
Bobby's gonna get going. I'm not I don't know if it's this week. I'm not worried about Bobby Wood Jr.
He's going to go on a tear. He's going to go on a streak like I did last summer. Like you have a lull, and he's just going on a tear. I do believe that tear is coming.
This sounds crazy when you say it out loud, Tess, but are you more confident that in 3 weeks we're talking about Jack Caglione being a bigger boost for the offense or Salvador Perez?
Kaggs.
That says a lot. That says a lot.
I was going to say Canna, but
that's your guy. That's your guy. He just got 10 years of service time. Congratulations to Mark Canna.
Too.
Yeah, you're hung up on that.
No, I would say Kaggs.
You're hung up on the players only meeting. And yeah, I kind of. But isn't that a problem though? Like if we're now
he should never be looked at as a savior, but that's kind of what he needs to be at this point.
But isn't that a problem if we're, and I'm not even saying I disagree with you, but if we're saying that in 3 weeks you think it's more likely that Caglione can be a guy, I don't want to say carry the offense.
The Pins gold because Nick Kurtz was drafted 2 slots ahead. His back-to-back walk-off home runs for that team. That's a boost for the A's.
Yeah, no, Nick Kurtz has been playing very well.
I would expect performances like Kurtz.
Oh, I'm not saying that my expectations for Kaggs are any different than what they were 3 weeks ago. I'm shocked he doesn't have a home run. That kind of speaks to the whole hitting staff thing. And hopefully maybe tonight's the night in Texas down there that Kaggs gets his first home run. I'm just saying if we're saying that you trust that Kaggs will be a bigger part of the offense in within the next 3 weeks than Salvador Perez, that's a huge problem. That's a bad thing for this team, short term, not long term, because that tells you that Salvador Perez just is not going to get going this year.
Yeah, but they have the confidence in Cags going forward. I don't know how bad of thing that is. I mean, Sal Perez, you might be, just sitting there. He is what he is at this point. But if Cags takes off, I think that's huge for just his self-confidence and going forward. I think it's bigger for Cags to be better down the stretch than Sal, to be honest with you. We know what Sal can do and what he's done. We're talking about a guy with the Hall of Fame career, World Series MVP. We know what he can do. We know he can turn
he's
around.
Not doing
but
that.
Cags
I guess that's
the
what I'm
future,
saying.
man. Sal's not. Cags is.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, that's not what I'm at. I'm not asking long term for the franchise. Who's more important? Obviously, it's Caglione at this
Cags
point.
Could be.
For sure. Yeah, I'm just saying that. You're saying we know what Salvador Perez can be, but that's my point. In 3 weeks, if Jack Caglione you think is going to be a bigger part of the offense, what I said, the reason why that's a problem, that means Salvador Perez never got going this season.
True.
That's all I'm saying. I totally am with you. Bigger picture, who's going to be more excited? Fans are going to be more excited if Caglione gets going. Totally with you on that route. We'll get back into the Royals throughout the show, obviously, as we're talking about them beginning the road trip, and we'll talk more about what this next couple of weeks could look like, and really, do they get back to 500 in the next week or so? But before we get to Trash of the Day, which is 9 minutes away, last night, Game 5, NBA Finals, Drew, your Pacers went down. They're up against it now. Thursday night, the Thunder could clinch in Indianapolis. It does go back to Indy, reminder. And that's
a tough pill.
Maybe
Drew.
give the Pacers a shot just to extend it one more game because it goes back to Indy. But
I think it's going 7, but
Tyrese Halliburton, who's been awesome. And he's a great player. If you thought still, though, that he was in the superstar category last night, can end any of that debate. That's silly at this point. I understand he's a little banged up, but superstars don't play as many minutes as he did and not make a bucket. You can't say he's a superstar when that happens. I'm sorry.
No, because superstars do find a way to score.
In the NBA Finals, superstars don't not score. I mean, that's just not how it plays out. I don't know where you're at, Drew. Like, that's just not that cannot be the conversation about him anymore.
No, I agree.
0 for 6 in 34 minutes.
I never thought that he was a superstar like that. Just at all. I think Magic Johnson was on First Take and was asked what he thought a real superstar was. I thought he gave a good answer, and his answer was basically, if you attract any audience to watch if you convince people to travel to your games, like if you are box office, like you're the reason why arenas are selling out, then you're a superstar. Like Shohei Ohtani is a superstar. Aaron Judge is a superstar. I don't know how many there are in the NBA that are actually like that. If we're being based on that definition, LeBron James, Steph Curry. I mean, are people, is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander selling out arenas? I would consider him a superstar. I would consider Jokic a superstar. So I think that line in the sand can be, covered up a little bit with certain instances. But like, I don't think Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar. Now, regardless of that, even if he's a star alone, you still can't put up 0 points. Even if you're a star, you can't put up 0 points. That's just the way that it is.
He's a back-to-back All-Star.
I guess he finished with 4, right? Because he had a couple free throws or something. But no shots from the field,
you can't
man. Like,
not make a shot, and that's not like stylistically. That's not his. His game is more like a Jason Kidd or a Steve Nash, where I'm gonna facilitate. Really get. I'm gonna be more like Chris Paul. Like that. That's who he is. At some point, though, he's got to be able to knock down the shots. And again, like you said, I know he's dealing with the injuries. I think it was more of the reason them losing this game was a collection of everything. They had 23 turnovers. They allowed 32 points off the turnovers. They shouldn't have. They didn't deserve to win the game, the Pacers. And then you add in the fact that this series has been all about the depth being showcased. Talked about it yesterday. Aaron Wiggins last night and Cason Wallace combined for 25 points off the bench. Massive. A massive difference for them in that game. Obviously, Jalen Williams, J-Dub had 40 points, which is a spectacular finals performance. So a lot of it just all came together for the Thunder last night.
The Thunder went away from a title. They're also went away from doing what we were discussing a few nights ago, which was, hey, feels like after you lose that game in Indy, the Thunder are about to win 3 in a row. And do you think the Pacers can win on Thursday? I think this thing is over, man. I think it's over on Thursday night.
For some reason, I do.
I want it to go another game because it's a great
I think
series.
they're going to get 7.
You think? I hope.
I think they're going to get 7. I think the Panthers are going to wrap it up tonight against the Oilers. By the way, you want to bet on that?
On the Stanley Cup.
Panthers minus 150.
Bink just
no, I'm just saying. I was just
forget basketball. Yeah, he's like, I'm done with this basketball conversation.
No, I'm just saying that 3-2 they could wrap it up tonight.
You're right.
I'm expecting them to wrap it up.
I hope they do. But by the way,
Oklahoma City to wrap it up.
Reminder: if Florida takes care of business tonight, since I guess we can talk hockey, if the Panthers are going to do that, that means Cash Out Bro is done. Done.
Yep, he's
bet would
finished.
be over at that point in time.
That sucks, man.
$13 bet to win $270K. Could have cashed out $123.
Yeah, it sucks for him.
It does suck for him.
That's a lot of money, man.
It sucks for him, but this is the
That's
thing.
life-changing money.
I'm convinced over the course of our entire following it on this show that he was, I'm convinced, forced to not cash out. Because I think even whoever's flying him out to all of these games and everything like that, I think they told him either you cash out and you lose all this. You're not going to any of the games. You're not doing any of this.
I think the players should take a collection and give it to him.
The onus is on him. It sucks for him, but he also is the reason why he's losing. Why he's not cashing in on any of it. It's his fault.
I agree. He definitely has to own it, and I think it was a terrible decision.
I don't feel sorry for him. It stinks, but it's not. I don't feel bad for it.
It's a terrible
let's play
decision.
Some bets tonight. You want to do that, Gold?
We can make a bet if you would like. Real quick, I was just going to say, though, as far as the situation with him, yeah, Bleacher Report was probably flying him and buying him tickets to these games. That's cool and all. That's not the same as $123K. That's not the same as $270K.
Which is why he should have taken the money and said, forget flying me out. If I cash out and you don't fly me out, I don't care. I can fly out myself, which I think has been Cody's whole point.
Like Marlon's
this entire time. And now, I mean, he could cash out for $40,000 still, or whatever the number was last night.
Which seems like nothing to him now.
But still, cash out the money. You bet $13, and you can win. You can bag $40,000. You can get yourself a new Benz at least. Forget anything else. You can get yourself a brand new car, a brand new nice luxury car with $40,000.
No, you can't. Are you kidding me,
Drew?
For $40,000?
Not after taxes too.
Drew. Brand new Jeeps costs like $65,000.
Hold up, Jeeps are different things. My car, brand new, is like $30,000 or less.
Drew, man, I don't
know. I like your car, but it's not a Mercedes. You know what I mean?
I understand, but
you're not getting a Mercedes for $40,000.
A Jeep is an SUV. The SUVs are always more.
But you're not getting a Mercedes for $40,000, Drew.
All right, I'm gonna check.
You're not getting one.
So anyway,
I'm looking right now. So
you don't even need to look. I'll tell you right now, you're looking at $80,000-$90,000 top
I'm with you,
minimum.
I'm with you, Bink.
Continue the conversation.
I was just gonna say. This is like the trap as a sports bettor that can be difficult, because if you would have told this kid when he made the bet a year ago, basically, remember, this was 5 legs. He had the WNBA title he picked the Dodgers to win the World Series. He picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. So this all happened back in like September or August, I think. If you would have told him then $13 to win $270K, and eventually he's going to have a chance 13 to win 40, or anybody in life, $13 to 40K. No brainer. Everybody's taking that. The problem is he got greedy. He loves the attention. He had 123 on the line or available to cash out, and he said, that's not good enough for me. And now when he sees 40 as a cash out, that just seems like that's just a terrible amount of money. And that's the psyche of it. And that's what the books
find out.
The books are happy that this kid is doing this, is giving all this attention, and he's not going to get anything.
No, that's
you're not
the
getting.
other thing.
You're not. Drew's still. You're going to be looking for a
$40,000 new Benz.
No. Hey, I apologize. 44,000.
For base models.
I'm really sorry.
Like 107. He's not buying the bottom of the line.
I'm really
Mercedes.
sorry. You can get a C-class Mercedes for starting at $44,000.
He's not, Drew.
I apologize.
Drew, $40,000 doesn't even. It can't even buy you a new Explorer.
Bink, is it a Benz? It's a Benz base model. It's a Benz. A Benz is a Benz,
regardless. Base model, man.
E-Class Mercedes starts in the low 30s.
Dang, you guys need to calm down. I know what I'm talking about.
But you have to admit,
a motorcycle.
A Benz is a Benz.
But you have to admit,
no, it's not. No, it's not.
I'm kind of with Bink. But you would have to admit, Drew, if somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, I'm buying you a luxury car," you would not be thinking they're buying you a $30,000 car. Be honest.
Correct, but I think you'd be surprised at how. Not affordable, because that's not the right word, but how low the cost actually is in comparison to what you would think. Like if you want an AMG, you're spending $100-something grand. If you want a base level C-Class Mercedes, it's $44,000. That's less. I don't know how much a Jeep is, Bink. It's probably.
I bet you it's like $80,000.
You can get a base model BMW or Benz for in the 40s.
He could get a Chevy Malibu, brand new. 26,995 to 32,695. He can get him that, plus have a little cash to take a little trip. So he can get himself a Malibu.
All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
I had 2 choices today. We didn't get to this yesterday, so we can either do the casino toilet issue, or we can do the cicada attack that caused an accident. Which one do you guys want?
And they're both so good.
Yeah, which one do you guys want?
I think toilet humors. About as good as
Okay.
anything.
All right. Let's do the one involving a casino and a toilet.
Awesome.
So this is Pennsylvania. Gentleman named Jeremy. Been charged by police after allegedly blowing up a toilet in a Pittsburgh area casino. Now, not blowing it up in the way you might be thinking. There's a couple different ways that could go, right? Well, reports say that he was taken into custody by casino security at 5:40 in the morning on Sunday. He allegedly trespassed in a closed restaurant and tried to steal bottles of alcohol worth up to $4,000. While being transferred to this secure area at the casino, Bink, he asked for permission to use the bathroom.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
While in the employee restroom, he allegedly lit a commercial-grade firework that he just happened to have on him, you know?
Wait, what?
Because who doesn't have fireworks in their pockets all the time? And he plopped it in the toilet. A casino employee also happened to be in the employee restroom, had to be treated for minor injuries. He was unable to post the $25,000 bail, so he remains in jail until his hearing, which I think was yesterday. I don't know what the outcome is now, but yeah. So this guy got in trouble for stealing bottles, allegedly, and then he lit a firework that he just happened to have
what do you have?
firecrackers or what? A lighter, and he happened to have fireworks on him.
M80? What do you mean?
Because who doesn't take M80s into a casino bathroom?
It's what a Roman candle.
I mean, I don't know what this guy's problem was. He was stealing $4,000 worth of alcohol to begin with.
Actually, thought he'd go to the bathroom and light off a firework. I mean, who doesn't do that? I thought when I first saw this, like, it was blew it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it had to go. And it became a disaster. I thought that's where this was going originally when I saw it.
No. This is fireworks in a bathroom toilet.
My mom's at a casino. Maybe she is one.
Your mom's at the casino right now?
Yeah, I dropped her off on the way here.
You dropped her off at 7 a.m.?
I did.
At 7 a.m.
I took mom to the casino.
Oh,
it wasn't 7 a.m.
8 a.m.?
It was closer to 8.
Does your mom do slots?
I got stuck on 635 like you.
So are you going to pick her up after the show?
Yeah, old ladies. You know, old ladies in slot machines, man, they always win. She's meeting her friends and
She'll
stuff.
be there for 8 hours?
She's got friends coming. No, I think her friend might be taking her. But she got friends from out of town. So she said, hey, can you drop me off at the casino on the way to work? I said, sure, Mom. Let's do it. Just don't take your firecracker in the bathroom.
Well, don't steal the $4,000 worth of alcohol.
Do that either.
Jeez.
So she'll
Who doesn't take your mom?
I'm more fascinated by this. We'll talk about this during the random
You never
question.
taken your mom to the casino?
No, actually. Your mom will just. How many times a week does she go? She'll just sit there and play slots all day?
Usually about once a month or something. She had a really good day the other day. She did go the other day.
So twice in a week. So she won, so she went back
She did,
quick.
but her friend was coming in town. She's like, I'll meet you down.
She won, and she was like, oh, yeah, I got it.
How much are we talking? Can you share? Like $1,000 or $10,000?
Halfway.
Okay, all right.
And it's going back. She's on a roll, right? Old ladies win at casinos. It's part of the rules. They just do. They sit down and win. You leave a machine or something, they sit down and they win. It's part of the rules. But she said, hey, do you mind dropping me off at the casino? There's a lot of construction around there, too. Do you mind dropping me off? And then I got in that traffic jam on 635, Drew, because I was taking mom to the casino.
635 was interesting this morning.
Anyway, she got a text from her yesterday. She said, hey, do you mind dropping me off at the casino? I said, no.
Good for you, Bink.
Yeah.
You're being a good son.
Yeah, you do that
Yeah,
stuff.
that is nice of you.
Take your mom to the casino.
That's very nice of you.
Are
you going to go in there? Are you going to go in there?
I might. It depends on her situation at the time. 8 hours later, whatever.
You think? All right, real quick. Do you think she'll be up or down when you pick her up?
I don't know if she can quit. So I hope.
Oh.
I don't. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Please gamble responsibly.
Well, she's got a little bit of Alex Gold in her, you know.
Please
that whole
gamble
keep
responsibly.
Gambling, you've been rolling.
I hear you.
Except with Vern.
I don't do slots.
I think I passed you.
You know I don't do slots though.
I know you don't.
You took her to Hollywood?
What's that?
No, she's
Argosy.
I know which one she goes to.
I was going to say, because theoretically she'd go to the book, and all of a sudden if she had like a ticket on Ohio State to win the national title, how
she
shocked would
doesn't
you
do
be?
that. She'd do that. That'd be fun, though. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome, Mom, if she did that. Where do you play when you go, Golden? If you don't do slots or anything. I play the table games, but...
sports book or craps.
Craps?
Roulette sometimes.
Roulette's fun. That's fun. I used to like poker all the time.
Last time I was at a casino
don't
was when we were there for our Vern's Roundtable with Massey and Isbell.
Didn't Drew win a bunch of money last time you guys went to Vegas?
He won more than we did, than Cody and I.
Nice work, Drew.
yeah. Yeah, well, hopefully we're in Vegas in August again. We'll see. All right, that
Taylor
is
Swift. Shout out to Taylor
the
Swift.
trash of the day. Up next, guys, Chiefs Red Half Hour. Bink, you told me something about this Chiefs offensive line. I want you to bring that up again because I don't know if I fully agree with the word you used to describe them. That's coming up next.
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in to hear Royals insider Josh Vernier every Wednesday at 12:30.
We need to nip this in the bud. We need to nip what in the bud?
On your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about every vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty?
What about guarantees?
A lifetime warranty should handle that. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Hi, folks. Bob at Blue Springs Ford. Leighton, you look like you have something to say.
I do. It's our free lifetime powertrain warranty. That includes 24-hour, 7 days a week, every day of the year for 10 years roadside assistance.
Well, that was a mouthful.
We're talking towing, fuel, oil, water delivery to you, lockout assistance, battery service, flat tire support, emergency assistance.
Folks, if you don't come see us today,
then you'll miss out on our free lifetime warranty.
It's Taco Tuesday time, Kansas City, and Third Street Social is bringing the flavor. Every Tuesday from 3 p.m. to close, hit the bar or lounge for our legendary $2.50 tacos and $5 house margaritas made with Jose Cuervo Tradicional Silver. Come see us at one of 3 convenient Third Street Social locations: South Plaza, Northland, and Lee Summit. Join us for steak, street tacos, cold drinks, and your favorite neighborhood vibe. Third Street Social, a part of the Summit Hospitality Group and a proud taco partner of the Cody Plus Gold Show on 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at Hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED. But Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. That's Hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Allstate's new home insurance is now better than ever. We're making getting the right home insurance that's right for you super easy with our improved online quoting tool. It explains how each coverage option works for you without the headache. Yep, you can start protecting your home in a matter of minutes. So check Allstate first for home insurance that's better than ever. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Coverage subject to terms, qualifications, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management and practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour is brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder. So minicamp is underway. A couple days here of minicamp out at Arrowhead, or at least the Chiefs practice facility, I should say. I saw Mackenzie Nelson over at 41 put out a photo showing that Trey Smith is there, has a helmet on. Now, that's the media portion. I don't know if he's actually practicing. Remember, a hold-in, you can still just stand there the whole time. Yeah. But he's there. We were wondering, that was one of our questions that we had heading in. We're going to talk more about that even in the noon hour. Trey Smith, long-term
social
deal.
media videos. And so it's not truly Chiefs season until the media takes pictures of dudes catching passes. I mean, that's when it really starts. When they show the guy, oh, look at this catch.
Just wait till training camp.
Just everything, man.
It'll be Tyquan Thornton will have a one-handed catch.
Look at Mahomes, he's stretching. Whoa! Awesome. This will get 1,000 likes and retweets.
Tyquan Thornton will have a one-handed catch.
That's the media,
during training camp.
That's right.
And it'll have 1 million views, and suddenly people will talk themselves into Tyquan Thornton having a 1,000-yard season. And you're like, you realize he may not even make the team.
I saw the video.
But that's the fun. Look, that's part of the deal, man. That's part of the deal.
Media loves training camp pictures.
It's social media likes it. Yeah,
they do. Yeah.
You told me something yesterday before the show about this Chiefs team. Thinking of offensive linemen, we were talking about Trey Smith, and you said something about the O-line and how people perceive them.
Yeah, I did. You look at this offensive line, you think, okay, did they have offensive line issues down the stretch? You looked at every mock draft, which I do clearly, and it was Chiefs going offensive lineman in the first round. That's what they're doing. And they did end up with Josh Simmons in the first round because that was just the automatic piece. But you think about this line and the kind of production they should have, and really it just really glorifies that weakness at left tackle. Because you look around the league, this team has 2 all-pro first team on the offensive line in their center, Creed Humphrey, and they did with Joe Thuney. Obviously, he's in Chicago. You've lost him. And Trey Smith, he should be an all-pro. He's in the all-pro, or he makes the Pro Bowl, but who cares? Everybody does. But he was in it. So you have 3 Pro Bowl guys from that offensive line. You think, well, it's 3 fifth-year line right there. That's, they shouldn't have any problems running the football or protecting Mahomes or doing anything. And they, shouldn't have just, been beaten like they were against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, because I think people looked at it as a glaring weakness. But when you sit there and think about Creed was first-team All-Pro. Joe Thuney was first-team All-Pro. There's Trey Smith, who's going to end up as the highest-paid guard in the National Football League. That's 3 fifths-year line. It's pretty damn good, almost as good as anywhere in the NFL, but yet something wasn't clicking. That's obviously the left tackle situation they're in. Now, would I trade a situation where you didn't have your guard with those kind of accolades and a center for a all-pro left tackle? 100%. The all-pro left tackle would be the ultimate for the Chiefs. So I would sacrifice other parts on the line for that. Can Josh Simmons be that? I don't know. I mean, he's going to play this year.
Yeah.
He might be put on PUP. May play, may not. We don't know. We do not know. It's a big question mark with Josh Simmons. But you think about this team and this line, and you think about this year. All right, Juwan Taylor, you had him last year. Trey Smith, you had him last year. Creed Humphrey, you had him last year. You do take a downgrade that Joe Thuney's gone. Say what you want about Thuney. Yeah, it was a rough game against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but he was all-pro, and he was playing out of position. He's a guard, not a tackle. And those warts finally showed themselves when it got to the Super Bowl. Like, he looked good. He looked serviceable getting down the stretch. And again, he was playing out of position because he didn't have I'm going to say this, but the arm length of a tackle, because that is important.
That's what I hear, Bink. I hear that.
It is. Arm length is important, but he didn't have it. So now you're going into a season where you, I don't care who you grab, you're not getting somebody the quality of Joe Thuney at left guard. It's just not going to happen. Like, could Kingsley step in and be the dude? The former tackle transferring over to guard and being that guy? Yeah, he can be good and serviceable. He's going to be against Joe Thuney? No. So really the answer comes down to how good Jalen Moore is going to be in Josh Simmons. To me, that's what makes the whole offensive line work. I mean, you talk about running the football and getting production on the ground or giving Mahomes that extra time to throw to what your weapons are. Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown are down-the-field guys. And I know people like say, well, Rasheed Rice, well, he can be, but he's more that intermediate guy for the Chiefs. But when you have the elite speed set of a Worthy and a Brown, and you're not getting the time to utilize that speed down the field, that can be a problem. But you look at this offensive line and say, well, what's wrong with this offensive line? There's 2 first-team All-Pros and another guy that should have been an All-Pro in Trey Smith. And you're like, how bad are they? Well, that comes down to left tackle.
So I hear you. I think you said they underperformed considering.
Did they underperform? Yeah, to some extent.
Considering the talent they have. I think what comes
we get
down
enamored
to,
by the pass blocking stats and the lack of sacks and the pass blocking stats that they have. But there's no reason this team can't grind the football on the ground either.
Yeah, so underperform. I mean, look, the interior of the offensive line, the guys you're talking about, Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, they didn't underperform. The entire unit underperforms because we all know the 2 most important positions on the offensive line did not play great. Specifically, the left tackle was a disaster. They had multiple left tackles, as we all know, start throughout the season.
Well, Thuney was better than average at left tackle, though.
Sure, but that still only was like 5-7 games of the season, right? Whereas Juwan Taylor was better at times, not worth the money you're paying him, but he was average, I would say. People
without the penalties and stuff, he's very serviceable.
Yeah, and so this is also why I still think he'll be the right tackle week 1. I know
it's the biggest frustration with me with this team because you look at it on paper and you're like, man, these guys should be road grade. Like 3rd and 1 situations or 4th and 1 situations, Gold. This team should have been, I know they're not going to do the quarterback sneak, but I don't care. They should have been able to pick up a yard. That's the most frustrating thing. When you have a first-team All-Pro center, a first-team All-Pro guard, and Trey Smith, that's the interior part of your line, but yet you couldn't push through, and maybe some of that's on the running back too. Clearly it is with Pacheco and stuff. But if you can't get a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1, and you have 2 first-team All-Pros and another guy that's going to be the highest paid, that's a problem.
No doubt. I was just going to say, Bing, just the underperforming part would just be based off of resources. I'm with you on the not that Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey have underperformed. If you want to say that as an organization they've underperformed on the O-line, of course. I mean they've committed multiple premium picks at that position, or at least one this year. Now we're going to find out. Last year, a 2nd-round pick. I still count that as a premium pick, by the way. A 2nd-round pick to me is still premium.
Sure.
They've obviously committed a lot of financial, contracts to the tackle spot. Whether it was in the past Orlando Brown Jr. On a trade, and then money that would have been required on a deal. They weren't willing to go to the folks in on the deal, but they did on a franchise tag. Juwan Taylor's one of the highest paid offensive linemen in football, certainly for a right tackle. He is. Creed Humphrey is the highest paid center in football. Trey Smith right now, even with the franchise tag alone, is the highest paid guard in football from a per year standpoint, even before he gets a long-term deal done. So underperform from a commitment to capital and finances, yes. Do I think that the entire O-line underperformed? No, the left tackle underperformed. Therefore, the left side of the offensive line underperformed.
But the interior part, though, it did collapse at times. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 shouldn't have been a problem with that group. Like I said, that should not have been a problem with that group.
That's been an issue for years, though, right? The short yardage stuff.
But that shouldn't be an issue with the acumen and the level of play of that offensive line. You should be able to be dominant in the middle of the football field. Now, I will say this. Defenses are adjusting, and they're not putting their best resources, of course, going against Trey Smith and Thuney and Creed Humphrey. Well, I know Thuney's gone, but they weren't doing it. They were coming from the outside because they know that clearly was the weakness.
How much do you account win? I know the sacks and stuff, Bink, but what about win rates? In terms of pass block, run block win rates? Because
again, they're all good at that. Even Juwan Taylor's good at that.
I was going to say, because if you look at the amidst this is the entire O-line last year, according to what ESPN puts out, the pass block win rate, as in for the Kansas City Chiefs, was 67%, ranked 8th in the NFL. The run block win rate was 7th in the NFL at 73%. So they're theoretically a top 8 offensive line.
I think that sometimes goes with analytics versus the eye test. To be honest with you, I think some of that can be skewed because this team should be really good at short yardage running situations, and they're not. Like that's
I mean,
fact.
could that also?
That is a fact.
I know, but
short.
isn't that also potentially a sign of maybe Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt just aren't that great at running? Maybe they don't have a great running back.
That is a problem.
And that gets us into the conversation we're going to have anyway about the backfield heading in, because I think the vision of Isaiah Pacheco was a conversation that we were having last year. Kareem Hunt helped them a little bit in short yardage, I would say, because he just would run straight, right? Like, and he would be.
He
a little
became
more,
the guy. If you watch the Chiefs towards the end of the first half, and then definitely the second half, that was their trusted guy at that point. If Pacheco wasn't getting the job done, it was Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, but do I look at the backfield heading into this season? Do I feel great about it? Not necessarily. Look, I think Isaiah Pacheco a full offseason and get healthy. I think we will see signs of the old Isaiah Pacheco in a good way. Is he limited on still the ceiling of what he can do? Yeah, like I think a great year again from him. He's a 900 to 1,000 yard guy. He's never had 1,000 yards. He came up just short. He's a 900 to 1,000 yard guy again. But the way he performed once he came back from injury, that was not the same Isaiah Pacheco. I'm convinced he just wasn't fully healthy. We're going to find out during training camp.
It's never been though, Alex. It's never been that thing. I mean, you're thinking about a guy. When people think of Isaiah Pacheco, you think about the hard running style, right? The angry runner, that kind of style. But you don't see it on third and short. And the breakaway, too, it's 4.37 guy at the combine. You just haven't seen that kind of breakaway. I just think there's been so much untapped potential there. But at some point, you keep going year after year, and you haven't seen that untapped potential. But he's a very hard runner. He should translate the 3rd and 1. He should translate the 4th and 1.
Is it because there's, I don't want to say predictability, but I can't remember who it was, but I think I was watching something, and they were describing the Chiefs' offense as predictable at times where, hey, they can't get that 31 because they know what's coming because the Chiefs don't run the ball that much anyways compared to other teams. 3rd and 1, this is a time where it would make sense to run, or on 1st and 10, like being able to, getting themselves in certain situations where they're more predictable, hence the reason why they can't convert a 4th and 1, or they don't get that 2 yards on a 3rd and 2, where they ended up just starting to pass the ball essentially all the time from that point forward.
And I know they want to get a lot more production, and Isaiah's gotten exponentially better, receiving out of the backfield. That's something they like to do. And I'll be honest with you, I think Brashard Smith is going to be that guy really with the Chiefs as far as catching out of the backfield. He can do so many different things. Again, a converted wide receiver to running back. He was the starting wide receiver at the U, and look at what he can do. Well, and he didn't start some games, but he played a lot at the U at wide receiver. That's what he was before he went to SMU as a running back. But to be honest with you, that is an extra weapon that they do have. They do expect them to do. But, man, would I like to see him just grind it on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1.
Yeah, I think best case scenario, if you told me that Smith, for this first year in the league, became some sort of Jerick McKinnon type on 3rd downs, because you mentioned the pass catching ability, that'd be a huge win. I don't expect much more than that. I'm still curious how the backfield is going to shape up when we get to training camp, because Pacheco is going to be the number 1 running back, as he should be based on who they have in-house. Kareem Hunt is here. They didn't bring him back to just sit on the bench, so he's going to have a role. And then you have Smith and Elijah Mitchell, and then Carson Steele. So, injuries happen too, so let's keep that in mind. Some of this sorts itself out. But Elijah Mitchell, I still, we don't have to revisit the pre-draft conversation. I don't understand why they brought back Kareem Hunt. I just don't, but that's fine. When you look at Elijah Mitchell, and then I look at Smith, like, I guess you could argue Elijah Mitchell would have been, like, if you would have signed J.K. Dobbins, it's the same sort of thing. But Elijah Mitchell's played less than J.K. Dobbins in the last year or so. Last year, I wanted Dobbins instead of bringing back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That was something I had said at the time.
Me too.
So,
I was right there with you on that.
So Elijah Mitchell has, if we're just doing by ceiling, all right, Brashard Smith's, his ceiling's high because he's a rookie. We just don't know. His ceiling is high. Pacheco, we know what he is. Kareem Hunt, we know what he is. Elijah Mitchell, I still think his ceiling's fairly high, but man, his floor is awfully low because of the injury risk.
Durability, yeah, it's a huge thing. The speed's there. He's 4.32 guy.
The fair thing, I guess, in regards to the Elijah Mitchell conversation is, at least you're not, for somebody who's injury prone or dealing with injuries, you're paying less in fairness. But again, if J.K. Dobbins is healthy all season long, then it's worth the pennies that. Where did he even go again? I mean,
say again, sorry.
Dobbins.
He's in the Broncos. Yeah,
Broncos?
They got R.J. Harvey.
Then it's worth the pennies that
Dobbins.
the Broncos are paying.
I
forget how much he even.
Dobbins this year too.
How much did he get paid, Dobbins?
Oh, it can't be much. I mean, neither is Elijah Mitchell's not making much either. But
was Dobbins 6? I don't know why.
Dobbins, no, that's too high. 1 year, like 3 or something. It is 1 year cap hit 2.5.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I mean,
I
would have done that.
Washington. I would have done that. Money.
But once they brought in Elijah Mitchell and Kareem Hunt, that was over.
I'll tell you,
one of these guys. I wonder.
I do consider P. Ryan not here a miss because I thought P. Ryan was outstanding on third down situations.
He was
great pass blocking, great pass catcher out of the backfield. I think I was so glad they went and got him when they did. Now he's of course with your Bengals, Drew, but I do think they'll miss.
He's
P.
back
Ryan.
there, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. But Elijah Mitchell, the pass blocking is exactly great. That'll be having something that has to be improved if he wants to be in there on third down.
Did anybody else? I just saw it come across, and then last night too. Just there's moments where all of a sudden you see something and you're like, man, that makes you feel pretty old. The Chiefs put out year 10 for Chris Jones. Yesterday they put out year 9 for Mahomes. Like you want to just, whoo,
decade.
I mean, time is flying. Time is fun. Better enjoy the Mahomes there and everything. I know we all are, but just like, and Chris Jones even, to be in year 10 already. Like we're on the downward slope here for Chris.
The fortunate thing is, Chris Jones is on the downward. The fortunate thing for Mahomes is this is the peak era for quarterbacks when you get in your 30s. So that's good. The peak Mahomes you haven't seen yet. 30s, that's when you see it.
Chris Jones, by the way, we're expected to hear from him at 1 o'clock today. He's
nice,
one of the players that will talk post day 1 of the quick 3-day mini camp that's going on at the Chiefs practice facility.
Mandatory.
It is mandatory. Otherwise, if you miss all 3, unless it's excused, you get fined $105,000 or so. I do want to shout out something though. Anybody that's grown up in Kansas City, and if you went to school in the Kansas City area, and I remember, I don't know what grade I was in, maybe it was 1st or 2nd grade, but I remember Casey Wolf coming to the school, right into our gymnasium, and that was like such a big deal, and it was one of the cooler things. It was a day that you remember when Casey Wolf went to your school.
Got my picture with him like a month ago. He was at a function I was at.
And today's National Mascot Day, and the Chiefs announced earlier today that after 35 years as Casey Wolf, Dan Mears is going to officially retire. I believe July 1 is when that'll become official. So there will be a different Casey Wolf, if you will, moving forward. But 35 years as the mascot.
That's a long time.
Think about all the memories that he created for a lot of people, whether you were in elementary school or,
you're all grown up. It's your kids seeing them now.
Yeah, and going to Chiefs games, and I know they still do some of this, but like in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I believe he would have his friends, and they still do it, but his friends dress up as like a Broncos fan, and he'd come out on the golf cart and he'd tackle them and stuff like that. Those are some of my first memories of going to Chiefs games. I always thought as a kid that was like the coolest thing when the Raiders fan would come out and he'd jump off the little the ATV or whatever, and he'd tackle him, stuff like that. That was Dan Mears in that suit. So congrats to Dan. Obviously, 35 years as a mascot. That's pretty special.
You don't have to wear it in St. Joe anymore in the 100-degree heat. You ever smelled that, Wolf?
Well, I'm sure it stinks, Bink, because you're sweating in that. I mean,
that's a terrible thing.
There's only one of us on the show that's been in a mascot outfit for one day. Okay, at least one game. In junior high, one game, Bink, one game. I was the Bulldog at California Trail Junior High for one game.
Nice.
They needed somebody. It was a fill-in thing for one game, and it was a lot of fun. But that thing was hot. That thing was very warm.
You ever been mascot, Drew?
No.
Bink?
No, I've never been a mascot.
Would you have wanted to?
No. You know how hot it is in those things?
But back in the day?
I remember one time, as a long time ago, my kids were real small. We waited in line for a balloon animal or something. Like within a minute, Sluggard popped it. It was like 100 degrees. It was like
AI is taking everybody's jobs. They're not having an AI mascot. That's not happening. Surely not.
Mascots are important, though, because if the team's terrible, they do cheer people up. It is something that, for people to be excited. I'm not a huge fan of clowns. I hate clowns and stuff like that.
Don't get Drew started on the clowns.
Hey, mascots are a bit different. But
mascots are way different.
Some
way different. Yeah, I mean, look, Casey Wolf, 35, that's here in Kansas City. I wonder... outside of Kansas City, how many people know Casey Wolf? I think quite a few. It's one of those.
It's iconic.
In the NFL, there's not that many mascots that you actually can name, right? Like Toro down in Houston. You were telling me the story
Toro
about
the Bull.
it. Yeah,
Kansas City guy.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me before the show. Like in baseball, him. Like Slugger. Philly Fanatics, one of the best mascots in sports. Period.
Mr. Met.
Mr. Met.
The San Diego Chicken.
Mrs. Met. San Diego Chicken.
You never heard the San Diego Chicken?
I don't know.
Oh man!
All I remember is the Pelicans mascot scared a bunch of people.
San Diego Chicken was so popular. Teams used to hire him to come to your games. So it'd be the San Diego Chicken coming to. Oh, that's probably the most famous
My
mascot
favorite
ever.
mascot is Boomer. Shout out to Boomer, the Pacers. The Pacers mascot.
See, I've never. The Western Kentucky Hilltopper is one I've always seen.
The gorilla in Phoenix is really cool.
Yeah.
The Dunking gorilla.
There are some creepy
Syracuse,
ones for sure.
the orange, like the orange guy thing. You know,
the ones that are like in the line of the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers are the Padres, the
some
Friar,
mascots have a head, but
the
no
Providence
body.
Friar.
Yeah,
like Willie the Wildcat. Did you ever hear about the
Willie the Wildcat's a cool mascot.
The Mountaineer mascot. Have you ever seen him?
Of course. Which one, Bink?
No, for the Mountaineers, it's like a real dude.
He's got the gun.
And he carries
Bink,
a musket.
there's two
with
Mountaineers.
him.
Which one? App State or West Virginia?
West Virginia.
Okay.
West Virginia. He actually killed a bear with that rifle, and they took it away from him. He killed a bear with the actual. Yeah, he killed a bear.
No way.
Yeah.
Was he dressed up as the mascot when he did it?
I don't know but he had that musket with it. Let's see. Yes, the West Virginia University mascot did kill a bear while hunting. The incident occurred in 2012. It drew public attention.
If I think of mascots, I think of college teams way more than I do pro teams.
I'm just saying. I mean, that's a mascot out there, killing a bear. It's pretty awesome.
Someone says, Gold, how do you not know about the San Diego Chicken?
The San Diego Chicken is like the most popular mascot ever.
I've never heard of the San Diego
Are you
Chicken
kidding
either.
This is an age thing. This is an age thing. I'm looking up the history of the San Diego Chicken. It started in 1975. I was born in 91.
I was born in 95.
Well, but still, though, it was still around when you were a kid.
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, it said in 1991, the year I was born, he appeared in a Captain D's commercial. I was 1 year old. In 94, I was 3 years old. He was featured in Boys Life magazine. Again, I was 3.
wasn't born yet.
In 2004, okay, I was 10. He was in an episode of Malcolm in the Middle. Okay,
So
maybe
he's been in movies and TV shows.
But again, we're talking when I'm anywhere from 1 year old to 14 years old. This is when. So for me, no, yeah, it sounds like it was a very famous mascot, but I have no clue.
So they don't use the chicken anymore.
That
Why
doesn't
not?
sound like it.
It says
what was he the mascot? Hold on,
AI
no.
says yes. Yes, the San Diego Padres still acknowledge and celebrate the San Diego Chicken.
I want to go to a Padres game. I also want to go to San Diego.
Wait, the Padres have a Friar as the
No,
mascot.
they had a chicken too, but the original performer has significant reduced his appearances.
Is it a
While
live?
he's not a regular mascot at every game, the Padres recognize him as a significant part of their history and celebrate his legacy during special occasions. The San Diego Chicken, didn't La Russa get in that?
I still think Gritty's great. Gritty's a fairly new mascot, but Gritty's great.
Lasorda, didn't he get into it with the chicken or something like that at some point?
I'm not sure. I'm looking up. Otto the Orange is the name of the one I was thinking of. Okay.
Who's got the best local mascot? The Jayhawk?
No, boy.
Truman the Tiger? Or Willie the Wildcat?
Hold on, hang on. Are we
Well,
talking?
I don't think if your mascot costume literally is a head and then just a body, then there's no
Shade thrown?
It can't be that.
So it's not
It's
Willie.
it's down to
Truman?
the Jayhawk or Truman the Tiger, and then
Truman's funny, man.
some people will knock the Jayhawk because it's mythical, but it's one of the most unique mascots and iconic. You look on TV and it's on the court, you know exactly what school is playing basketball.
True.
I hate to say, sorry K-State, sorry Missouri. The most iconic mascot in the locals is the Jayhawk.
Truman the Tiger's kind of funny with that tail.
I mean, look, all the mascots, in my opinion, all the mascots are great. But in terms of iconic or in terms of, like, if you have a mythical animal that is on the court, to Gold's point, I know that the Wildcat is as well, but if you see...
There's the Northwestern Wildcats, too. I don't know which one you're talking about.
If you say Jayhawks, you know good and well who that belongs to.
That's right, Drew. You say
what?
Say it.
Slugger's funny. Slugger, he brings his dad. He has his dad on Father's Day. It's the older cat. But I'll be honest with you, I think the Pasquatch is actually the best mascot for the Royals.
Well, that's a great thing they do out there. I will say for those that we only mentioned the 3 locals, but the Washburn and Topeka, the Ichabod, that is true. Someone texted in one of the most original mascots in college sports. That is a fact. That is absolutely a fact. The Ichabod, man, that's unique.
With the Buckeye,
I guess
Brutus
so.
Buckeye.
Yeah,
he's
Brutus.
pretty popular.
I think one thing about college too is they have the live mascots.
Yeah, the
you
Bulldog.
like the live
I met
mascots.
the Bulldog. You know what they bring up?
Ralphie's pretty cool.
They bring a dog.
Pretty cool.
Georgia brings a doghouse for the dog, the
Oh,
Bulldog.
yeah, of course, yeah.
And he got into it with Bevo, right, in Texas. That's why they can't have both mascots there at the same time, because they actually have a real
Bevo
bull,
also is a
longhorn.
iconic mascot.
Yeah, Bevo's awesome. But they bring like a doghouse for that dog.
Yeah.
And it's air conditioned. But he didn't go on the
Well,
charter
better be
anymore.
there.
'Cause I
I'm
think he
not
took a
surprised.
dump on the floor or something like that on the charter. So he flies
Oh,
separately.
yeah, of course, you would know that, Bink.
All right, up next, guys.
I interviewed the damn dog.
We'll get to what's trending. We'll talk more about minicamp beginning today, what we expect to have happen contract-wise for Trey Smith, and somebody made their return to baseball, at least a baseball mound, yesterday. That's coming up right here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold.
You will not decorate my balls, period. I will decorate my balls.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5. The Fan.
USA Soccer is back on the pitch. That's coming up later on this week, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to back them with zero pressure. Right now, FanDuel's offering a no-sweat bet on the next USA match. That means you can place a bet on the Stars and Stripes, and if it doesn't hit, you'll get bonus bets back. That's no sweat, no stress, just your shot to score big while repping red, white, and blue. Whether it's the first half or it's stoppage time, FanDuel has you covered with fast payouts and America's favorite features. You can bet on who's going to score the first goal, what minute the goal is going to take place. You name it, they got it at FanDuel. So don't just cheer, bet on USA Soccer with confidence. Download the app at FanDuel.com/Alex and place your no-sweat bet today. FanDuel is an official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund, $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
It's Taco Tuesday time, Kansas City, and Third Street Social is bringing the flavor. Every Tuesday from 3 p.m. to close, hit the bar or lounge for our legendary $2.50 tacos and $5 house margaritas made with Jose Cuervo Tradicional Silver. Come see us at one of 3 convenient Third Street Social locations: South Plaza, Northland, and Lee Summit. Join us for steak, street tacos, cold drinks, and your favorite neighborhood vibe. Third Street Social, a part of the Summit Hospitality Group and a proud taco partner of the Cody Plus Gold Show on 96.5 The Fan.
We're going to draw one name of a person that sold their car to GiveMeTheVin.com and give them $25,000.
Wow.
Give Me the Vin is giving away $25,000 in cash every month.
Could you imagine being that person? Wouldn't that feel great?
That would be awesome.
Well, honey, you won.
Oh my God.
Heather Krager of Dallas, Texas won $25,000 and Give Me the Vin's big cash giveaway.
That's so cool.
You could be next to get a little more, maybe a lot more.
I guess that old Mercedes was worth more than I thought.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
Honey, in case you can't tell from the recliner, summer is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors KC for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for the heat at PowellKC.com.
Listening is so important, and that's what Dawn Sharp does. She listens to her clients' needs. Buying or selling a home is stressful, and you want an agent who puts your needs at the top of every single list. And you want to contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Ask them about their instant offer program. You can Google them at Sharp Homes Team Or better yet, pay them a visit at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW-1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Allstate's new home insurance is now better than ever. We're making getting the right home insurance that's right for you super easy with our improved online quoting tool. It explains how each coverage option works for you without the headache. Yep, you can start protecting your home in a matter of minutes. So check Allstate first for home insurance that's better than ever. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Coverage subject to terms, qualifications, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe? No-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m.? Big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas? The ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk. Real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Applied today at bakeru.edu. We start with the Royals, who begin a road trip tonight in Texas against the Rangers. Seth Lugo gets the nod. He'll go up against Jack Leiter tonight. 7:05 first pitch. Vern's on deck show at 6. Obviously, the Royals in the middle of a 6-game losing streak. Starting tonight, they would like to obviously turn their fade around a little bit. They're 4 under 500.
Yeah, a little fresh start being on the road, considering what's happened at the K lately. 6 straight losses, 6 straight series losses for the Royals. It's going to be a tough stretch, man. Texas, winnable games. Not saying they can't win any of them, but some of these teams ahead of them, San Diego, the Dodgers, even the Rays, how well they've been playing lately. Tough games. It's time to turn things around against the Texas Rangers for the Royals. Day off yesterday, cleared their head a little bit. Get going tonight. Can't wait. Mini camp underway today. Looks like we'll hear from Chris Jones later.
Yeah, 1 o'clock should be Chris Jones. You see all the photos and videos. Everybody's there, man. Everybody's there.
Got Travis Kelce stretching. Wasn't he like France yesterday or something?
Yeah, he was at an Amazon, like him and Jason promote. You know, their podcast is part of Amazon's
so France
family.
Yesterday, Arrowhead today.
The power of private jet travel.
Man, that must be nice, man.
Yeah, very nice
to be able to go from there to here. But anyway, mandatory mini camp. Then it's done. Then it's shut down. And Andy Reid probably didn't want to hear his phone ring until training camp, because that's always bad news when you hear it. Like, you just stay out of trouble from mini camp. Well, actually, the whole season, but mini camp.
Yeah, I hear you.
You definitely don't want issues when you get to training camp, because I'm sure Big Red doesn't want any.
Yeah, you want to be quiet. That's usually a good off season, is when it's quiet, and they haven't had a quiet off season in a while. Maybe they can make it through this one. We'll talk more about minicamp after what's trending, because Trey Smith is there as well. But is he practicing, or is he just standing around? What's it mean for his contract? We'll do that in just a bit.
We haven't seen videos yet.
Yes. Elsewhere, Bink, Thunder take a 3-2 lead in the NBA Finals over the Pacers last night. Game 6, Thursday night in Indy. The Thunder can win their first ever championship.
And stretch it out, man. Let's get to 7. I'll actually be rooting for your Pacers in this one, Drew, because I want to see 7 games.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it's going to be...
I think the Stanley Cup wraps up tonight, so at least you have something. And we get the College World Series still.
Yeah, I think the Thunder get it done Thursday, but I'm with you. I mean, it's been a fun series. I wouldn't hate if it goes to a Game 7. I just think that Last game in Indy a couple nights ago, that was the one Indy had to have. That was the series.
Yeah, that was the gut punch. That's the one,
Yep.
unfortunately.
The Stanley Cup Finals, Game 6 tonight. Florida Panthers 3-2 lead on Edmonton. This has actually been fun to watch, this series. The Florida Panthers, this team was on a dynastic run as well. You know, the Chiefs got a lot of crap for always in the Super Bowl, and people kept talking about it ad nauseum nationally. Oh, look, it's the Chiefs again. Panthers are there for 3 straight Stanley Cups. They could win back-to-back this year. Of course, they lost to the Knights 2 years ago, but 3 straight for the Florida Panthers, and it could be back-to-back world champions tonight.
Yeah, that's impressive, and it will mean the end of Cash Out Bros parlay if the Florida Panthers get it done.
No Mercedes-Benz E-Class.
I want to see what his video is going to be when the bet if the bet loses. Like, I just want to see if
He's going to downplay. He's going to downplay and say, it was a great couple of weeks. I don't care. I didn't need the 270,000
I still got my
anyway.
dad over here. We're good to go. You know, I'm still
It's
set.
crazy. Lastly on What's Trending, Bink was excited about this. He wanted to make sure we got this one in. The PGA Tour has hired Brian Rolap, top NFL executive. A lot of people thought he could have been the next man in charge if Roger Goodell stepped away ever. But PGA Tour is hiring as its first ever CEO. He'll work alongside current commissioner Jay Monahan, who will transition out of the PGA by the end of 2026.
It's interesting. They're going to the NFL ranks. He plays golf, likes golf, he said. But he says he's got a lot to learn about the sport of golf.
He's got a heck of a
He was part of the
job to
group
do.
that got NFL Network up and running and stuff like that. But Roger Goodell, he was the heir apparent to Roger Goodell. Listen, Roger Goodell makes a lot of money. I don't know what it is now. It was, $30 million a year a couple years ago. It's got to be at least $60 million now.
I think we looked it up. I think it is about $60 million.
So he's got to make that. Roger's not going anywhere. So he has to wait a long time.
C-Class Mercedes. Mm-hmm. He can, as a CEO, he can get a couple of those, Bank.
He can get a Malibu and $8,000 in cash still.
We're still hung up on that.
Well, you get taxes still.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold with you. Jay Binkley is filling in for Cody. Drew Nixon producing the show. Of course, it is our lunch hour. And shout out to our friends over at 3rd Street Social. They're part of the Summit Restaurant Group, the official taco partner of Cody and Gold. 3 locations in the Northland. They got one in Lee Summit, South Plaza as well. 3rd Street Social is the proud Taco Tuesday partner here on Cody and Gold. You can head out over at any of the 3 locations, as I said, for $2.50 tacos starting at 3 o'clock today as well. So appreciate 3rd Street Social. Great spot to check out. I've been to that South Plaza location a couple of times.
Have you ever had the animal style burger? They'll bring it to you in like brown paper, but they do.
No.
It's like as close to In-N-Out as you can
Really?
get. 3rd Street has the animal style burger that they sell, and it's always been a staple. I love that.
I have not had that item.
Great,
there.
great stuff.
But great day to get some tacos over at any of the 3 3rd Street Social locations. We mentioned what's trending. Minicamp is underway, and good sign. Everybody appears to be there. I still don't know if Trey Smith is going to practice. He's there. He's got a helmet on. That's a great sign. But remember, guys will still do the hold-in thing. But it points in a positive direction, just that we're not going to have the same issues that is going on in Cincinnati or Dallas with Micah Parsons. But how confident are you that a deal gets done? We're less than a month away, just under it.
He's wearing gear. I'm looking at these pictures.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might actually. Remember, the media portion's only open for part of it. We'll find out.
Stretching and whatnot.
We'll find out at 1 o'clock.
He's got the elbow pads on.
I know. I think he might actually just practice, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. Now,
media pictures work out this time.
He signed a franchise tag for $24 million.
He's going through drills.
Yep.
I'm seeing him go through drills.
Oh, well, there
for
you
him,
go.
you know?
Yeah, that's great. That's
for
great.
him.
The deal getting done, are we going to have to wait until right up against the deadline, or do you think there's a chance it gets done sooner? I think July 1 is the earliest.
July 15th is the deadline. So these things usually go right up against it.
That's typically how it goes, yeah.
12th
I think
or 13th.
it has to get done. Frankly, like the Chiefs put themselves in a position. I know they got to negotiate 4-year deal or 5-year deal and some of the language in the contract, but the dollar amount for the most part on the yearly basis because of the franchise tag. And so when you traded Joe Thuney, you made a decision. You have to get a long-term deal done. Otherwise, you made a big mistake moving on from Thuney. You move on from Thuney because you think you're going to hold on to long-term Trey Smith. And I think they'll get this done. Like, if I had to bet right now, will Trey Smith get a long-term deal done by the deadline? Yes, I would bet there. But back in March when they traded Thuney and they tagged Trey Smith, I thought, that means they must think they're close to getting a deal done. They obviously were not. And so we sit here, and they're less than a month away from this deadline.
The Chiefs will have about 3. If you took all the NFL positions, you took 22 and add the specialist to it. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs will have, 3 or 4 of the top at their position in average per year? Because you got Jones. Butker, top-paid kicker at this point. And then Creed Humphreys, top-paid center, so that's 3. And then Trey Smith would be 4. So 4 spots would be Kansas City Chiefs players for the highest average per year. That's pretty tough to do. Because that means you have to draft extremely well. If you have 4 of the highest paid at their positions in the National Football League, which when Trey Smith signs, that'll be 4.
Right. I think it's important to get it done also, not just because of the decision you made earlier, but you know who's waiting on a deal and who I think they need to get a long-term deal. That's Trent McDuffie. And the longer you wait on that, of course, the price goes up. Sauce Gardner, I think, still hasn't gotten his deal with the Jets. And, of course, he plays the same position as Trent McDuffie. So you look at just the comps and what that market could look like. Trent McDuffie, I think, will end up being, and they consider him one of the faces of this franchise now. And especially,
he's got those interceptions, it's put that behind you.
Especially, Bink, because in a year or so, Travis Kelce's not going to be around. And 3 years from now, where's Chris Jones going to be? I mean, Trent McDuffie, Patrick Mahomes, and a third face, whoever that's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a offensive player or a defensive player, but McDuffie's going to be that face of the franchise kind of player. And so I think they're going to get a deal done with him. But you can't negotiate that really until you get Trey Smith handled. That's why I think it's important to get this done so that you have a chance maybe before the start of this season to get something done with Trent McDuffie and not just play it out. Because I think it costs you quite a bit of money if you do that.
Yeah, and I think they'll get it done. And like I said, it's a good sign seeing him go through drills and everything else, because it's one of those situations he could have sat out, because you see this all the time in the league. But he's back, and you thought, hey, there's good faith. It's good faith between Trey Smith and the Chiefs. So that was the good sign going forward, and clearly today's another great sign.
Someone on the text line was listening earlier, 913-586-7965, said they delivered a package over to the same casino that your mom's at, and said they're attempting to go see if your mom's on a roll up the slot machines or not.
Well, I haven't gotten a text. Well, she's got a little bit of Alex Gold in her, you know.
Oh, jeez.
You know, I didn't mean that.
Bink.
I didn't mean that. I meant that you're gambling the way you gamble all the time. You'll gamble over anything.
Drew saved that in the system.
Drew's...
Wait.
Drew and I have issues.
Continue.
You going to the quick trip tomorrow?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yes.
You can't go and get some of your own on the way?
Why'd you take your Code Red today? I'm just curious. You were in a, quote, backup on the highway, but you did have your Code Red with you.
Because
was this all a ruse? Were you really in a backup, Drew? Or was this you just running late?
That's a whole
or
nother
were you running
conversation.
late and grabbed the Code Red? I'm just curious. Or are we blaming this on traffic?
No,
Okay. No snow, no rain, no. I mean, what are we doing here, Drew?
June
I'm calling you
17th.
out for lying.
I didn't lie. You went through the same traffic that I did.
But it was cleared by the time I got through.
No.
Drew gets here about the same time every day anyway.
Thank you.
Well, she's Much got a little later bit of than Alex Gold in her, you know. Nah, stop it.
You're the one that said it, Bink. You did it to yourself just the
I
same way
didn't
that I
mean
do
it.
things to myself.
These drops, they got to stop. People think I'm dirty.
I mean,
They do.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what makes them think that.
No, they
Bink.
do.
I'm sure it's
They
just
do.
that one comment.
I called the White Sox a booty call, and you think I'm the worst guy in the world.
Yeah, when Cody and I were
people talk dirty
gone,
all the time on all the shows.
Yeah.
The commercials.
Not
Literally
happy.
pissed my pants and forgot who the hell I am for the last 3 days. See? Fabricated. It's done by AI.
I don't know what's going to happen on Friday. Friday is just you and Drew.
I know. It's just
I
gonna
mean,
be,
good luck. And it's a fan club Friday. I don't know how you guys are going to handle that. Drew might just walk out by the time before the show's over.
I hope so. Who are we going to have in here drink with us? At 1.
That's on you guys. I don't
Let's
know.
get hammered at 1 to 2.
I don't know. Whoever you guys want.
Those panties just go flying off.
Didn't say that either.
You obviously did, Bink. That's not AI Bink.
That
That's
was
not
when-
AI
oh,
Bink. That's real
when he-
Bink.
That's when he was in your chair, Gold and
What
Cody.
was he doing in my
was-
chair?
He was filling in with Cody, and there was a day where he had about 5 drops. It was one of those days. It was one of those.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, my
It was one of those, man.
Hey, baby, how you
Jeez.
doing?
Gosh. Coming up in about
You're a creep, dude.
15 minutes, we'll talk more about the trade deadline, some reports that the Royals are looking at outfield help, and what JJ Picollo told us earlier today. We addressed a lot of the conversations that you as fans have been having, and we've been having on the show about this organization right now, where this baseball team is at, including how aggressive are they going to be, what's the timing of everything, and JJ Picollo's response to report that they were already talking about trading a veteran pitcher or not. So he shut that thing down pretty quick.
He shut it down,
and
took the
we'll
writers,
bring that back in
backed
15.
over it.
Yeah, that's coming up in 15 minutes. But last night, I didn't have a chance to watch this. I know you were excited for it, but Shohei Ohtani made his return to the mound. Now, he only pitched 1 inning. All right, they're easing him back in, but it's the first time he's pitched in, 2 years, I guess it's been at this point in time. And we all know about the power that he has. It reminds you, though, for you, it sounded like Ohtani is must-watch. So you specifically said, hey, I'm going to go watch because of Ohtani. You think about athletes in sports who are must-watch for you, and Ohtani's on that list. He's going to be at the K here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's fun, and just players we like watching. You don't have to like the team. Like, you probably didn't like the Cardinals. There's a lot of people here who don't like the Cardinals, obviously.
Right.
But did you enjoy going and seeing McGuire hit home runs? Or did you find yourself ever going to St. Louis during the chase? Or did you buy tickets to go watch Sosa when he came to town that year to watch? You're not a Cubs fan at all. You just want to see Sosa. Or did you go watch when Barry Bonds came to Kansas City? You're like, this is a must. I've got to go see Barry play baseball. I did. I wanted to see it. Now, as far as Ohtani's concerned, I remember his first start in Kansas City, right? We had all the media there and everything. It was a cold day. They ended up bagging the game. It was like 24 degrees or something. Didn't see it. But, yeah, I flipped over, and I'm watching because usually the Dodgers are on MLB Network late at night or whatever, so you watch them. But I don't watch the game. I watch when Ohtani comes to play. Like, you'll check your scoreboards and see kind of where he's at in the lineup and stuff and flip over. But Ohtani's just one of those rare guys to watch, and you can still enjoy things. I remember Ron Hughley a few years ago when he went down to watch a tournament that Tiger was in. It's like, you get a chance to watch conceivably the greatest of all time. Maybe you're a Jack fan or not, but
or JJ Spawn, I'm told yesterday. Yeah.
Or JJ Spawn. Yeah, that was great. I would love to have been there. But watching Ohtani pitch, and he gives up the run. And then all of a sudden he leads off the next inning. He gets a double, gets that run right back. I mean, what we're watching, it's just incredible thinking about how good the dude is. Was shut down from pitching last year, still wins MVP at the plate. That is one of the few guys in sports I will tune in just to watch that player play, or you'll go to the game and see him. There's just certain guys in sports, whether you like the team or not, you don't even have to like the team. It's almost better if you don't. You just like that particular player. That's one of those guys.
Yeah, Ohtani's definitely that. I mean, I think, when they come to Kauffman in a couple weeks, there's a lot of people, including myself, I'm going to go to a game because I want to watch Ohtani. There's also.
Does it matter pitching or just hitting?
I mean, if he happens to set up rotation-wise where he's pitching, then great. I also think, they're the obvious name, too, and someone that I just saw the updated ratings in her first game back from injury. Caitlin Clark is the most obvious answer for this. The ratings and everything have proven this out. We all know what she did to Iowa, what she's done for the WNBA. Her first game back on Saturday, 2.2 million average viewers, peak of 2.8 million, third most watched WNBA game on ABC ever. So she's the answer to that. She's become must-watch if you are a basketball fan, especially if you're a fan of women's basketball. That whole league, nobody talks about if it's not for Caitlin Clark. That's just the reality of the situation. So she's probably that player. Obviously, in football, I think there's quite a few. Like Mahomes, to me, is still at that level, no matter how much people want to hate on
I
the
think
Chiefs
people actually
winning.
go to games outside of the city just to see him play, even if they're not a fan of the Chiefs, which most aren't.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is that player. Like, if he's on in a game, that's a player for me, too.
I could see that. And back in the day, it was Bo. It was clearly Bo Jackson back in the day, when I was growing up. But, Caitlin Clark is one of those players you'd want to go see. I said earlier, and we'll talk about the ratings without her playing is different. She is the league. She's the whole league. Got a lot of crap for saying that, but it's true. She is the entire league.
Yeah.
The entire league.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ratings have backed that up.
Yeah, proof is here. I don't think people are watching other games; they're watching her. That's what I said earlier.
Do you
got
think
a ton
in,
of crap for it, but that's the truth.
Do you think in baseball, though? So you mentioned Ohtani, and this is we mentioned the numbers earlier. This past Father's Day weekend was the best attendance weekend in baseball in 17 seasons. So I think baseball's in a good spot. Unfortunately, the CBA stuff is going to come up in a year or two. But you mentioned Shohei Ohtani is must-watch for you. Is there another baseball player that is must-watch for you? Some people might say it's Bobby Witt Jr., but is there another Aaron Judge this season? I mean, anytime he steps into the batter's box, this guy is hitting over 4. Is he still hitting over 400?
No, he's at 377.
377 now.
Yeah. Not what 9 of
but
the
last
last
10
10 plate appearances.
I was at Kauffman this past Tuesday, of course, when he hit that home run off the Hall of Fame. I will not forget that home run ever.
But you have to balance that, and he's beating your team. That's the only bad part about it is when they're. But it used to be much easier when the Royals are so far under 500. You want to see the player come and excel. That's the tough thing. Same thing with Ohtani. He comes in here and
Like
hits
if
home
Paul
run.
Skeens
Yeah,
was
you
coming
saw
to
an
town.
Ohtani home run, but yet it's doing it against the Royals.
Is Paul Skeens that for you? Not on TV, but if he's in town, are you going to watch a Paul Skeens start?
Paul Skeens is one of those guys that we used to joke around with Kling and Bob back in the day, like with Skeens starts. Hey, Skeens start day. So you tune in and watch it. But Skeens is one of those stop what you're doing and watch him play.
Superstar, like a full-blown
I think
superstar.
so. I mean, when he's pitching, I definitely watch it. I mean, I don't watch Pirates any other time, but if Skeens is on the mound, I'll watch it to see Paul Skeens.
I think there's still it's Judge, it's Bobby, it's Shohei,
Ellie De La Cruz, maybe.
Not so he's an unbelievable athlete. I don't know
if that's a showstopper.
I don't know
You're
if
driving
I'm
300 miles to see said player.
Yeah, I don't think I'm seeking out that game.
I don't want to be that person, but are we sure Bobby's that? Are you driving 300 miles to see Bobby Witt Jr. play? We would, I think, but.
He's
do you
one
think,
of the
baseball fans. I don't think so.
Do you think Joe Schmo from Jacksonville, Florida, is driving all the way down to Miami to watch him play?
I don't think so.
I don't know if Joe Schmo is driving to Miami to go see
I think they would for
anybody
Ohtani.
other than Ohtani, though, really. For being real.
Yeah, I just, and that's nothing against Bobby because we know how good he is, obviously. But I wonder is he in Shohei's category of stardom
he's just
among
a great
just
player.
the general public?
It's just like, but if you're expecting, smashing the home runs, clearly he did well in the home run derby, hadn't had as many this year. But that's a big allure, a big draw for people to go see how far this guy can hit home run. I mean, that's a big thing when it comes to baseball. I want to see this dude mash. Typically, you're not going to see somebody that hits for average or wins batting titles. They're going to see the guy that hits home runs.
Yeah, and some of this, too, is the marketability aspect. Like, some guys have bigger personalities. Like, Bobby Witt Jr. is a hell of a player. He's not the biggest, brightest personality that's out there. Is that part of this? Is that what we're also talking about? Because there's guys in the league that are great players. Like, Pete Alonso's been a great player for a while, but that guy is just doesn't really say a whole lot either. And is that's never somebody that you were probably saying.
I wish I would have traveled to see Jordan. Like I wish that's one of the things I really miss on going and seeing.
Sure. I mean, I wish I saw him play as well. That's why I want to still next year find a way to go see a LeBron James game because
or see Tiger Woods
without getting into the MJ LeBron debate, we can all acknowledge if he's not the GOAT, he's the second best player in NBA history. And so I want to have a chance I want to have a chance to see LeBron play. I've been fortunate to see Tiger Woods play in a golf tournament. That was a bucket list thing. PGA Championship at Bethpage Black a couple years back. That for the point you mentioned, like there are players like that because you think and they're one of the all-time greats. Does it have to be an all-time great though for it to be must watch? Because there's guys that are not all-time greats that you like Shohei Ohtani eventually could be a top 50 baseball player ever. Right now, he is not a top 50. Think about all the guys who play. Shohei Ohtani currently in 2025 is not a top 50 baseball player of all time. Can he be that when his career's done? Sure. He's not there yet. Is he a top 100? Yes. But I don't think he's a top 50 player. So, but you want to see it because he's pitching and hitting, and it's just something you haven't seen in your lifetime for the most part.
He's already racking up the MVPs too, so it's kind of fun. How many MVPs he won now? 3?
Yeah.
I think it's hard for you to say.
3-time MVP. Yeah, 3-time MVP.
I think most of the time it is a legend in their sport. Like for instance, like Tiger, I've been able to see Tiger play. I've made it a point to go see Kobe play. I wanted to see Kobe Bryant play.
Sure.
If they're in town, it's a lot harder in my mind because I don't think of it in football, but I think it's a lot easier to have this conversation with basketball, baseball, golf, potentially, if it's in, or other things. Where with football, if I want to go to a Chiefs game or if Chiefs fans want to go to a Chiefs game, you've already got that guy where I don't like
clearly it's not for you, Drew. You've had a chance to go see Mahomes at Arrowhead. You haven't gone yet, so clearly it's not.
When Tom Brady faced off against Mahomes, that was classic because you had the GOAT with the baby GOAT playing. That was.
I'm talking about if somebody swings through Kansas City, if you look at the schedule, are you going, is there anybody that stands out in the NFL right now that if they came to Kansas City, you'd say, I want to go to that game because this player's coming? Or is it because it's a rivalry game and I want to see the rivalry
I want to see Jaden Daniels next year in person. I haven't seen Jaden Daniels play ever. So Jaden Daniels would be a player. And a lot of that is just because I haven't seen him play in person, right? So Jaden Daniels next year on the schedule that's coming to Arrowhead. One of the players I'm most excited to see, is Jaden Daniels for sure.
Because to me, I think it's harder with football. It's different with football. I don't know why that is, but
that's true. I
think because I think watch Mahomes though. I do think that's
for
a draw.
Sure. Yeah. I think and that's the thing. That's why it'd be a question for if I don't know if they're traveling to Indy. do Colts fans want to go to that Colts-Chiefs game because they want to see Patrick Mahomes play against their favorite team? Or is it just, I just want to go to a Colts game?
Look at the ticket prices.
Because,
there's a reason why. Yes, Chiefs fans are buying up tickets on the road too, but there's also a reason why the Chiefs, whether they play international or whether they're playing in Minnesota or wherever, like those tickets are more money because one, in some years they're defending champs, but because it's because that people want to see Patrick Mahomes. It's the same reason why when the Panthers come to town, the tickets are cheap because Bryce Young's not exactly a draw these days.
Yeah, and nobody on the team is. I mean, because even when Luke Kuechly was playing, Luke Kuechly is a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best linebackers for the time that he played in his time period. You aren't going to a Panthers game to watch Luke Kuechly play.
No, but I actually went to watch Ray Lewis, a young Ray Lewis play, just to watch Ray Lewis.
You wanted just to watch Ray Lewis? I think
went to watch Ray Lewis, yeah.
Because that, I think, is where maybe with football it's a little bit harder, where with basketball or with baseball, you can see, especially a hitter or a pitcher, you can see them perform and they have the ball in their hands, they have the bat in their hands, they have the club in their hands. It's all them, and that's who you go to see. Where football, with only quarterbacks, really is where it is convincing enough, I think, to make it worthwhile.
I felt that way
spend a
about Bo when he played football because you never knew when he touched the ball if it's going to be.
Bo Jackson is a great example. I think of somebody who you go and see.
Yeah, he was just such a unicorn, playing baseball and football and everything.
Yeah.
Like, to me, Bo Jackson was the dude to go see play.
All right, up next, guys, let's get back into the Royals, including some comments from JJ Picollo earlier today with us about their approach as we get closer to the trade deadline, plus a random question of the day right here on Cody and Gold.
Watch Cody and Gold on YouTube by subscribing to the 96.5 YouTube channel. Cody and Gold is brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Prostate cancer. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed in their lifetime, but early detection can save lives. That's where KCUC comes in. They're the premier center for urology and oncology, with over 50 elite providers in more than 25 locations across the metro. KCUC makes it easy to get screened fast, in the comfort of an office, not a hospital. Schedule your screening today at kcuc.com. Don't wait. See why they're KC's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, remember, you see the best in KC.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
$14,000. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory's moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
One of my favorite things to do at Hy-Vee is saving money on gas. And this weekend, I'm in luck. This Saturday, June 21st and Sunday, June 22nd, earn a 30-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 grocery purchase at Hy-Vee. And Hy-Vee isn't just saving us money at the pump. They're lowering prices in every department. And on top of that, you can save on fuel as well. So this weekend, stock up for summer and stack up those fuel savings this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Nothing tastes better than sweet summer corn or a juicy ripe watermelon. Indulge yourself in the fresh taste of summer this Thursday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. We're rolling back prices on your favorite produce like sweet corn, 4 for $1, avocados just 69 cents, seedless grapes 99 cents a pound, candy cantaloupe $1.99, and russet potato 5-pound bags just $1.48. Stock up on all the juicy deals during the mega produce sale this Thursday through Sunday only at Hy-Vee.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger, Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list, I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152.
This report is brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is only 100 calories and the best part, 0 bubbles. Grab it at the K or ask for it at your favorite bars and liquor stores.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Jay Binkley, Drew Nixon with you. Bink will be back in just a second. He's still scarfing down some of the tacos, man. I barely finished the tacos in time before we got to break. I had a pause there for a second. They're fantastic, though, man. Bink went with, I think he had like some of the chicken ones. I went with the steak tacos from our friends over at 3rd Street Social. They're our proud lunch partner here on Tuesday, part of the Summit Restaurant Group, the official taco partner with 3 locations, Northland, Lee Summit, South Plaza. And on Tuesdays, at any of their 3 locations, they have $2.50 tacos. That starts at 3 o'clock here in a couple hours. And, those were awesome. A little rice, a little steak tacos.
Very, very good.
And then they brought in some dessert. I haven't had the dessert yet. Drew was very excited, very proud and excited to tell us about the dessert,
some
too.
Some sort of whoopie pie
that was
deal,
impressive.
And then a s'mores pie.
Yeah, looks...
That's next commercial break. Anyway, one break at a time here. You know, I had to scarf down the tacos during the last 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll hit up the dessert here in just a bit as well. So appreciate the folks over at 3rd Street Social. All right, I want to talk some more baseball. We had JJ Picollo on the show earlier today. If you missed the full conversation, it's up on our website, our Odyssey app. Also, we'll re-air that coming up at 1:30 today. But there had been some reports about the Royals shopping for outfield help. I know Vern yesterday had told Fescoe and Dusty that, hey, they need to drop the green flag, so to speak, and start buying and try to get this thing corrected. This team right now is not out of it. but they can be very quickly because of where this offense is. By the end of this road trip, they could be, 7, 8 games under 500 if things go disastrous.
Till the
right?
All-Star break is brutal.
25 games till the break. Only one team they're going to play that has a worse record than them, and that would be the Pittsburgh Pirates and maybe Paul Skeens, depending on the way the schedule works out.
Last weekend.
It did not. It definitely did not. And in the report that was out there initially from Jim Bowden over at The Athletic, he mentioned that the Royals are looking for corner outfield help, and he mentions that they understand that they would have to part ways potentially with a Blake Mitchell or Carter Jensen type. And I told you the only way I'm on board with that is if I'm getting players that can help you beyond 2025. I'm not trading my number 1, number 2 prospect, let's say in Blake Mitchell, for Cedric Mullins, who is gone after the end of the season, or Ryan O'Hearn, who I just wouldn't trade for anyway, but that's a whole different conversation. And then there was also a mention of the Marlins. Now, that was more intriguing. They've got a couple 27-year-old players that have 3-4 years of control left. That would be a situation where I'd be willing to get rid of some of my prospects to get guys that can help me now and in 26 and in 27. That's kind of where I'm at on the trade. So everybody wants to make it as simple, buy or seller. I don't think it's that simple. Are you a buyer for the future, or are you a buyer just for 25? I don't think, if you right this second, that they should be a buyer just for 25. But we asked JJ Picollo kind of how, the difficult nature of that right now, because it's June 17th and a lot of teams, you look at the trade market and who's actually selling and who's buying.
Yeah, well, I think we're just trying to monitor things. I mean, nobody seems to be very active right now. I know we had the big trade the other day, and that was a very unique trade for a lot of reasons. But, it doesn't seem like teams are actively shopping players right now. So you just keep evaluating things. And what we've tried to do is let's look internally. What do we have internally that maybe can pick us up a little bit? And it may not be the big bopper like, Devers being traded, but if we can add to our offense and improve on the margins, improve our defense, improve our base running, we're going to explore that first, because there doesn't seem to be a market right now where there's an outfielder available. So guys are getting opportunities right now, whether it's John Rave, Jack Caglione, they're all getting opportunities to play. And then it gives us more time to evaluate who they are and how they can impact this team in 2025. So all that's coming into, our thoughts, our processes, and really until you get somebody that is, clearly going to be trading an outfielder, we can talk about it all we want, but we can't force another team to make a trade.
And that's why I still think a lot of this gets settled, and I keep saying it, like the next 3 weeks. Either in 3 weeks can be very clear you're a seller, or in 3 weeks something happens with this offense maybe, and all of a sudden you're right in it, and then you can make a determination. But so many of these teams that you are talking about maybe trading for, they're in the same spot as you record-wise. I mean, now if you look at the American League, other than like what the A's and the White Sox, basically, you're the Angels and the pick another American League team. Certainly the Twins and Guardians are right there at the top of it, but they're all they're not selling. So
the
if
Orioles are 6.5 back, and the Athletics 8. And the White Sox 14 back. Yeah. That's it. That's the list.
Yeah.
The rest of all competitive. Even the Orioles sitting here, they've been on a roll at 6.5 back. And then the Royals sitting right in front of the Orioles at 3 back.
Yeah. So, like, I understand if you say, like, they should, go out and make a move. I don't think there's a ton of moves to be had. And that's what I said about Rafael Devers. I don't think I was actually glad to hear JJ say it, because people on the text line thought I was crazy for saying it yesterday. But Rafael Devers getting traded does not mean that it's all open now. That's such a weird trade that went down. I also don't like the trade for Boston at all. But Devers was complaining about the position stuff early in the season. He felt like he was lied to. And then, then Devers was, basically calling out the GM at times. Like, that was just a mess. It was a unique thing. That doesn't mean now that everybody is selling pieces. Could there be a minor trade? Well, sure. But as far as an impactful trade, I'm not so sure. I just think, and this is the part we asked JJ about, are you looking for a guy with control if you go and make a trade, or are you looking for just a rental? Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer. I mean, I guess the best way to answer it is the preference is always to have control. I mean, that more years of control certainly benefits your organization. But when it comes down to it, who are the pool of players that are actually going to be traded, and what do their contracts look like? And when we get to that moment, I could better answer, if a rental player is all that's available. But you always set your sight, at least we do, on players that have more than a year of control. That was what we followed last year. Doesn't mean that's what we're going to do this year, but so much of it depends on the pool of players that are available that will help us shape that answer.
And last year they traded a couple prospects for Urseg, who had what was it, 5 years or 4 years of control or something like that. I just take the name out of it, but I was using Mullins as an example or Ryan O'Hearn as an example because that's who was referenced in the Bowden article. I don't even if you told me this team we wake up in 3 weeks and they're suddenly 2 games above 500, they get some things figured out and they're only a game out of a playoff spot. I really don't want them trading for a rental player at that point in time. Let me be clear, I guess. I don't want them trading your top prospect for a rental player. I would be clear on that. If you told me that there was somebody else that they could trade in the organization further down the prospect list, sure. But I'm not trading Blake Mitchell to only get a rental. Now, I think you would get more than just a rental for Blake Mitchell, in fairness, but that's where I'm kind of at on the whole trade situation.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you as far as, trading your future pieces that could help this team in the future. What about the current now? What about the current guys, like a Suarez or something like that? That's the guys I think they should zero in right now on. And I know he's a third baseman and things like that. That's fine.
He's a rental too, right, Suarez?
He'd be a rental player, yeah, because he's going to be a free agent. He's 33. Again, he can still slug it, still hits home runs. He's got 3 grand slams this year. But the Diamondbacks have played better lately with 3.5.
They're not selling them yet.
Exactly. They're not selling them yet. But it's that type of player that I think kind of fits into what they would want to do because you're not giving up anything long-term for him.
Yeah, now this was...
You're not going to have to give anything for him.
We asked JJ Picollo about... There was a report out this morning from somebody out on the East Coast, Mark Healy, and he said, quote, "I'm hearing Royals ownership has told JJ Picollo to start thinking about trading some veteran talent." The tweet went on to allude to, Seth Lugo. We asked JJ Picollo about that report.
Unequivocally false. That is as false as can be, and the accountability of that writer should be in question.
So that was a strong response.
Big fan of that writer, wasn't he?
But in totally understand it. I think. Does that mean that they won't trade Lugo? That's not what he's saying. Just the idea that he's had conversations on June 17th that they need to start looking to trade veteran. That is what he is obviously disputing in the report. Does it mean that things really get ugly and they continue to fall off and it's July and they trade Seth Lugo? Well, I think that's still in play. I don't think this means that they just have said definitively they're never trading Seth Lugo this season. That's not what he was saying. If this team is in a bad spot next month, then I think they should at that point because he would not have any control left, or he doesn't have any control. He's going to opt out. We all think he's going to get more money somewhere else, and so you will be left with nothing. But if you're in if you're firmly in a playoff spot, then I would not want them to trade him. But otherwise, yeah, they absolutely should be looking to trade him at some point.
Yeah, I said that you have to figure out what you're going to do, and I do agree with JJ that it becomes all kind of muddled with every team thinking they have a chance because you don't want to throw in the towel to your fan base. But the American League, it's a lot easier to see who's in it and who's out there. There's actually 9 teams still technically involved in the American League. National League is a little easier because you get down to the Braves 7.5 back from Wild Card, Nationals 9.5 back, Marlins 10.5, Pittsburgh and Colorado. Focus on those teams, because the other teams think they still quote have a chance. Unfortunately, the Diamondbacks sitting just 3 games back because they've been playing better baseball as of late. But those are the teams you want to watch. But again, when you get closer to the trade deadline, maybe some of these teams are even closer to it and still think they have a chance. So that can be the real problem. But unless they take that slide and they become, 8-9 games back, I think if you're 3 to 5 games back, you still think you have a chance.
From that first cut that we played, I know I don't think this is exactly what he meant, but he mentioned JJ mentioned guys are getting chances like Rave, like Caglione. The fact that he mentioned Jack's name, does that mean that would they actually consider bringing somebody in who not necessarily would replace Jack, but somebody who would? Because I don't think he meant it by mentioning his name, but I think the fact that he mentioned him with Rave at the same time and that guys are getting chances, it made it seem like they're this is like a trial run for Jack to show what he has. I don't think it was
chances of development.
I don't think it was that way either.
He was
I don't think
listing
that's what
off
he meant.
pretty much every player they've called up.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he meant
and
either,
Rave, and if they call up somebody else, he was mentioning they were looking at internal options. They were calling up guys to help the big league club, like Jack Caglione, like John
I don't
Rave.
think he meant it that way either, but him just saying it made me think of, was there actually any shot that he meant that they could bring in somebody who could replace Jack or fill Jack in the lineup? Which doesn't make any sense.
100% no. Yeah, 100% no. Last thing from JJ, then you can hear the full interview coming up at 1:30 here on Cody and Gold. We asked him just about, players-only meetings, because that, of course, happened on Saturday, and that's how we started the interview. Do they work, and what was your reaction to a players-only meeting happening, and was that a good thing?
They're obviously feeling some pressure right now. Obviously, we're not playing as well as we're capable of playing, and the coaches do as much as they can day to day. And one of the things we try to maintain is consistency in our practices, in our routines. So the coaches are always doing their part. But it means a lot more when somebody like Salvi or Bobby or Vinny, whoever, was the lead voice in that. It means a lot more when it's coming from the players, because they're holding themselves accountable. And I thought it was a very positive sign.
Who would be the lead player in that? Probably Salvi.
I think it was Bobby and Salvi. It was Bobby and Salvi. Look, I think
it too. I mean,
do they? The follow-up question to that I asked him was like, do they work? And he's like, it depends on how the tone. It sounds like this was a positive, if that makes sense, like a positive play. Like people weren't arguing, there wasn't fighting going on at the players-only meeting, which can happen in some circumstances. That's when it becomes a negative. They lost the day after it. Like, I don't think we even know. We'll what? Maybe after this road trip, right? Like, we'll be sitting. If the road trip goes great, will we be saying, "Oh, the players-only meeting worked"? And if it keeps going the way it's been going, the players-only meeting didn't do a damn thing. I think players-only meetings in general are overblown. I think some fans like to see it because it shows that the players give a damn. I think that's where it's at. I don't know if it has a direct correlation, but I can promise you if they have a good week, I bet you on Monday people are going to be discussing, and we might be discussing, did it actually do something? It'll be asked questions on Saturday in San Diego or something.
The only time I've ever seen a player kind of struggling and give those speeches was that Jason Hayward that I brought up to give the players only during the middle of a game during a rain delay. He did that, but you got to be good. But this team had times where just the leaders weren't there. The leaders, were wet and Benintendi and these guys. Because Bobby didn't want to speak yet, hadn't been around the league long enough and stuff like that to be a voice. Because I remember Matheny talking about, we even asked him that question, about guys and using their voices. Have they earned that chance yet to be that guy in the clubhouse where people are going to listen to what you have to? I think some of these pitchers could have been answers to that too, like a Waka, guys like that, a Lugo. I mean, I think they could command the room as well. But at least the finger pointing's not there because easily could be, just like the Chiefs last couple of years. The offense could have been pointing to the defense and vice versa, the way things have gone the last couple of years.
Coming up at 1 o'clock, we're expected to hear from a couple members of the Chiefs as day one of minicamp is going on. 3 days of minicamp. Trey Smith is there, for those that were wondering. Looks like, based on video, he was working through drills as well, despite not having a long-term deal with the team. We're expected to hear from Chris Jones, also Josh Simmons, who, of course, was the Chiefs' top pick. They claim everything is ahead of schedule with him, but you and I are both a little more skeptical on whether or not that'll be the case come training camp, but we're going to hear from them in the 1 o'clock hour. In the meantime, let's get to it.
Random question.
Yesterday I had it. Today I said, hey, Bink or Drew, one of you take the random question of the day. I don't know what you guys came up with. 913-586-7965. Hit me with the random question. What we got? What we got, Bink?
The computer stuck on me.
You're good. You're good.
Completely
stuck on me. I don't know. You tell me the question. Did you settle on a question?
You remember it?
All right. As I mentioned earlier, I dropped somebody off at the casino on the way here. My mom.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the weirdest place you've ever taken your parents or vice versa?
Weirdest place
that you've asked your parents to take you, Goler, where your mom's dropped you off. Maybe it's work, maybe somewhere else. Or Drew, did they drop you off somewhere? Where did you drop them off?
I don't even think a casino's not that weird.
It is on your way to work.
Well, that's okay. That's fair. That's fair.
At what, 7 a.m.? You said 7:30?
About 8.
The weirdest place. I don't think, weird place that I dropped my parents off at. I can't think of it. I don't even know if they're a weird place. I mean,
or did you ever go get hammered downtown? You said, "Mom, come get me." Just anywhere.
Not really. No. I'm trying to think.
If I needed somebody to pick me up and I was drunk or anything, I'm not calling my parents first.
Just get an Uber.
Foremost. I'll get something else.
Just get an Uber instead.
Normally.
Yeah, I don't know though. A weird place that I was dropped off.
Have you ever picked your parents up drunk? That they were drunk?
No. Well, one, my parents don't drink like that.
Okay.
So
Someone said, Drew, if you were picked up from strip club before by your parents.
no.
No, that did not happen. What about you, Bink?
That would have counted as a weird place. No, not really. Not as far as being picked up or dropped off. I'm kind of like Drew. I got to go a different method or find somebody else instead of your parents. But yeah, it was kind of a new thing. So I'm dropping off. And, I'm thinking, this is definitely unusual.
Someone
This
said
is
they
definitely a
dropped
first
their
experience.
parents off at a swingers party once.
Wow. Wow. That's a difficult conversation.
That would be an awkward one. Someone says, let Bink redo this one. New question, because there's no... someone wants you to have a new question. They don't
I
like
was
your
just
question.
thinking about driving in.
They don't like
you know,
your
thinking
question.
This is kind of weird.
Someone did respond, so they had to drop their dad off at the courthouse so he could go to court for his DUI.
That's an interesting
That's a
one.
good answer. I mean, not a good situation, but a good answer to the question, I guess.
Or maybe your kid's 16 or 17 or 18 or whatever, already got the driver's license. You go out to the bar and you're saying, hey, come get dad at the bar.
Fresh off of getting
So I'm
their
sure
driver's
that's
license?
happened. No, they have to have a driver's license for a
okay.
year or something like that. And you're at a bar and you're getting drunk. You say, hey, come pick me up because they have their driver's license.
Somebody from the 913 says they've driven their drunk mother home.
I'll be honest with you. When my wife was pregnant, I always thought it was great that if we went out somewhere, like I could do the drinking because clearly they can't drink when they're pregnant. So that was always my driver. Like that was literally always.
So you took advantage of your wife being pregnant for you to have a designated driver.
There was this class that we went that she made me go to right when we were having a kid, and all the guys went in the hallway, and you're supposed to name the best part about your wife being pregnant, right? And all these guys had like a little sob story. Then they got to pick which dad said it or whatever. To rub the belly or whatever. And guys are saying this stuff to kiss some butt. Guarantee what it was. And I said, it's a DD anytime I want. And she knew exactly what
That's such a big thing.
That is crazy.
Such a big thing right there.
I'm glad my wife's pregnant. I can go out and get drunk whenever I want to, and she can drive me home.
Someone said for them, they dropped their dad off at the well down in Waldo for a Tinder date.
Wow.
Oh, even better.
So you dropped your dad off for a date.
How about that
There
one?
There you go. Yeah, that is worse if you were picking him up after the date with the date. That would be a problem.
That would be
That'd be a
interesting.
problem. That would be awkward as heck.
You would have to sell it you would have to have some sort of communication system down where your dad your dad couldn't say that you were the one coming to pick them up. Hey, I'm getting an Uber driver, and you would have to act like the Uber driver.
That's
100%.
true.
You'd have to be in on it too. You'd have to sell it.
Yeah, you can't say, "Oh yeah, it's my son."
Yeah, no way. No way.
I mean, my son on a first date. Yeah, that'd be weird.
I just think there's a lot of times parents out there have had their kids drop them off or something, or you don't exactly tell the truth of where you're at or where you're going.
913-586-7965. Someone says, shocker, Bink got divorced. Joe in Gladstone.
I was just being honest.
Someone else said, tried weed for the first time at a Juice WRLD concert. Got too high. Their mom and dad had to come get them in their car.
Oh, wow.
That's
fantastic.
Awesome. Hey, but that's a responsible thing to do.
Someone else said, Drew, take notes on what not to do while listening to Bink. Your odds of not getting divorced will skyrocket.
I've already got a couple pages written down,
Bink's giving you plenty of advice on what not to do if you want to avoid divorce.
Yes, exactly the way I'm doing it, Drew. So you can stay married.
Someone said they picked their dad up from the hospital after he beat the effing crap out of somebody in a bar fight. The police gave me his handgun, told me to take him home. Okay.
Wait.
His handgun. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Someone said, like Binkley, their wife was pregnant the first year they had their Chiefs bus. Assigned her the DD after every game to drive the bus.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I mean,
Chiefs fans unite.
Fresh off getting a driver's license, someone from the 816 said they just got their driver's license. They took their parent to Funky Town 13, 14 years ago.
Some of you guys are insane.
I think so, maybe. I've never been there.
Or your
Bink, have you
parents
been
are
there
insane.
before?
Whatever
Never.
it is. That's crazy.
Someone says, you're telling me Bink is single. Never would have believed it.
I know, it's a
Are you
shocker.
talking to somebody?
Huh?
You talking to somebody?
Oh, yeah, I'm not married, but yeah.
You talking to somebody?
Wait,
right now?
hang on.
Sure.
Who are you talking
You're not
to?
married.
I'm not saying a damn word.
Are you in a relationship?
I'm not saying a word, Drew.
It's a pretty simple question, though. Are you in a relationship or are you
You don't have
talking
to
to
say
somebody?
Play the fifth. I'm not telling you guys anything. I'm not married.
That can
Well,
mean
that's, okay. We know you're not married. Are you talking to
I'm
somebody?
not telling you guys that. Yes, but I'm not telling you guys that.
Would you say you're in a relationship?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's not single.
All right. Yeah, so Bink is off the market. Is that right?
Taken.
Yeah.
That was hesitation there.
No, there's no hesitation. I just don't like telling you guys stuff.
You don't tell us
It'll turn
stuff?
into a drop or something, you know.
You're now.
Does she listen to the
internally
show?
Aware of the drops now.
She listened to the show.
I don't know.
Is that how she met you? She said, "Man, that voice on that radio."
No, that's not it at all. Because that's probably a bad thing to do.
Yeah. So you hope she doesn't listen.
I hope not. Yeah.
But she knows what you do for a living.
Yeah, it's the goal not to listen to this because if you do, it probably wouldn't last very long.
I've told you sometimes, the first date, the person clearly has already listened to the radio show. I've run into that a few times.
Yeah.
Do you like my tractor, baby? Someone asked me if I passed the Hy-Vee gas station date. Yeah.
Was that your first? What was? Can you say here? There you go. You don't have to say anything about her. I get it. You want to keep it private. That's fair. What was your first date? Where was your first date?
It was at a bar.
The bar or a bar?
A bar. Was that a bar?
One that you frequent quite a bit?
Yeah, I had a beer at 10:30 in the morning. It was good.
10:30 in the morning? You went on a date at 10:30 in the morning?
I could take a guess at
10:30,
where it is.
something like that.
11 o'clock date in the morning.
Yeah, just
Interesting.
meet for drink.
Someone wants to know, does she know about all the Jews?
Now she does with the YouTube.
So look at you guys trying to screw Binkley's new relationship. We're trying to get details. I don't want to screw it up.
You don't have to pull out.
I do enough of that with this stupid camera you guys have on because I've been caught chewing before.
You guys have a camera on, both of you?
No, damn it.
That's weird.
These cameras.
Oh, okay. I got you.
And
Someone saw me chewing one time on it. Didn't go over well.
You also nearly got caught giving Dusty the bird.
If you missed the start of the show, Bink definitely flipped Dusty off, and he forgot the camera was right there in front of him when he did it. Which is great.
And it cut your arm off at your forearm. We just missed it.
All right, up next, we're expected to hear from a couple Chiefs players following minicamp practice today. Chris Jones, I believe, is one of the players that will speak. We'll hear from him. We'll also talk more about what the Royals look like by the time they come back to Kauffman Stadium.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Is your old garage door a real clunker? Overhead Door Company of Kansas City is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards a new insulated door. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Cash in your old opener and entry door too. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Schedule your free estimate at overheaddoorkc.com or call 816-221-0072.
It's Taco Tuesday time, Kansas City, and Third Street Social is bringing the flavor. Every Tuesday from 3 p.m. to close, hit the bar or lounge for our legendary $2.50 tacos and $5 house margaritas made with Jose Cuervo Tradicional Silver. Come see us at one of three convenient Third Street Social locations, South Plaza, Northland, and Lee Summit. Join us for steak, street tacos, cold drinks, and your favorite neighborhood vibe. Third Street Social, a part of the Summit Hospitality Group and a proud taco partner of the Cody Plus Gold Show on 96.5 The Fan.
A recent homeowner in Kansas City was trying to sell their home, and that's when they discovered Dawn Sharp. Dawn didn't just list their home, she became their trusted guide through every decision. And the Sharp Homes team can give you options as well. If you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold, then contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Ask them about their instant offer program. You can Google them at Sharp Homes Team or just pay them a visit at homesforsaleInKC.com.
The success you've had in life matters. The late nights, the extra shifts, the moments you've stood up and said, I've got this. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we value your achievements because we're a school for real life. With UMGC, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer scholarships, affordable tuition, and online and hybrid classes, all with the support you need from your first day to graduation day and beyond. As an accredited state university, we've been transforming lives for over 75 years. Choose from more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, and get ready to succeed again. Get an affordable online skills-based education to move your career forward. UMGC offers no-cost digital materials in place of textbooks in most courses, low-cost tuition, and over $21 million in scholarship opportunities each aid year. Find out if you qualify at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors.
like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
You log into your DSP. It's confusing. Where do you build a campaign? Where's the report? Targeting's vague, CTV's tacked on and overpriced. Then you find Viant. Setup? Just a chat prompt. AI does the rest. Targeting? People-based and precise across premium publishers. Measurement? Transparent, outcome-driven. And CTV? We've led since streaming meant something. Viant is the DSP that actually gets advertising. Still trading on a desk? Visit Viant.ai to unlock real results today.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Have you watched thy royal decree? How about Chiefs Take Tuesday? Or would you rather Wednesday? Follow us on Instagram at TheFan965 for exclusive video content, giveaways, and behind-the-scenes action. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold with you on a Tuesday. Jay Binkley filling in for Cody Tapp. Drew Nixon producing the show. Coming up in a half hour, if you missed our conversation with the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, you don't want to miss that. We had him on the show earlier. Everything you've been thinking, some of the questions you guys have had, we tried to ask those to JJ Picollo. You want to hear his response to the trade market, what Noah Cameron and Matt Quatrero and the organization's philosophy has been on him in terms of the pitch count stuff. On the report this morning about ownership, maybe talking to Picollo about veteran players, all that kind of stuff got addressed. And, of course, just where this organization is at right now and the players-only meeting. All that we got into with him, and that'll be coming up at 1:30. Minicamp is going on, though, Bink, out at Arrowhead. And
mandatory minicamp, Alex.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we're hoping to hear from Chris Jones. I think we're trying to figure out some technical stuff on that. But we do have Josh Simmons speaking to the media. He, of course, is the top pick of the Chiefs and could be the starting left tackle this season, but a lot of that's going to come down to his health and availability by the time they get to St. Joe. Here's Josh Simmons speaking to the media on 96.5 The Fan.
Said a couple weeks ago that he was surprised at how quickly that you've been able to come back. Are you surprised, or is this what you anticipated for this summer?
This is kind of, what I anticipated. It's what I worked towards. I got my operation done by the Platinum Standard and Neil Elitrage, so I was already feeling good about that straight off the table. And then I have the best in the business here, an Arrowhead Drive for rehab. So
seems like you're doing everything out there right now. Are you expecting to be full go with camp when the pads come on?
Just take it day by day. Whatever happens will happen.
Josh, how does the playbook part coming for you? Has the learning process been good?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of different things, and they'll run in college, so just kind of adjusting to the speed or what I'll see, and then obviously leaning on guys like Kingsley and Juwan, Trey, all those guys. It'll happen.
Is it difficult with the injury stuff to navigate wanting to go as hard as you can and then just having to pull back in a sense just to make sure that you don't go too far?
Absolutely. I did before this, this time last year. I was anticipating going a lot harder, but everything happens for a reason. I trust the staff around me, the players around me, so I'm just do what I can.
You played at a high level at Ohio State and against guys in the Big Ten for a long time. What's this competition level like compared to just what you've seen at college level?
Yeah, it's not that big, I guess, of a jump, but it is a very big jump. There's some hands, some of the moves are a lot more precise. Some of the guys know exactly where to strike you to kind of get you off balance. We had obviously straight dudes at Ohio State in practice, Jack Sawyer, JT, so I know what to anticipate, but still just a tick faster.
Sure. The last test for you really, it seems like at this point, is to put the pads on and have full contact. How much are you looking forward to that opportunity?
Very. Again, I wanted to be able to throw the pads on ASAP, but things happen for a reason. So whatever the staff allows me to do, I'm gonna definitely do really hard.
How supportive in what ways has Coach Reed kind of helped you as you go through some of this?
Really, he's been kind of talking to me every day after every practice, giving me tips, and Mitchell's out there, so he's kind of been putting me together with him and just kind of being a really good support.
All right, I think we lost maybe some of Josh Simmons there. Let me know, Drew, if we get reconnected. But Bink, you were motioning something at one point. Something caught your attention there when Josh Simmons was talking.
I mean, you got to change your outlook a little bit. It's a lot different than when you were at Ohio State.
Yeah, he said it's not that big of a jump, but it's a pretty big jump. I think he kind of corrected himself midway through.
Yeah, I understand. There's good guys. I mean, going against Sawyer and stuff like that in practice, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But game day, he did face Mike Green. He did face him. That's the one guy that he, just for a couple snaps, though. That's the best pass rusher I think he faced last year. But that's a major jump from, I'm sorry, Division I still, sure. It's the closest level you can get. But that is a significant jump going against those guys. A lot of those guys aren't in the NFL now. You were going against pros. I'm sorry, but it is a big difference between being in college and joining. I mean, you can say small difference or whatever. It's a large difference.
He was also asked just about being ready for camp, and he kind of said, "We'll see," or we'll kind of let the play it by ear kind of thing. Is essentially what it was.
Honest. I appreciate that.
And that's the case. I think that's truly the answer right now. I mean, they can say they're excited about his progress right now, but none of that is going to really matter until we get to St. Joe. Was it the progress enough to get him on the field day one in St. Joe when we're doing shows up there? Is he going to be with a helmet on in a shell? They want pads first day, but you know what I mean? With shells on or whatever right away? Or is he going to be in the tent? Is he going to be put on the PUP list? Those are still things that I don't think they really have the answer to. They can say he's being positive stuff right now in terms of progress, but I think that is still up in the air on whether or not he truly is available for training.
Well,
I hope he is. Because if he is, that is unbelievable news.
So you got Jalen Moore sitting in there, and that's just extra depth. So Jalen Moore.
You didn't like the pick, in fairness, so you're skeptical about it anyway.
Yeah, I'm skeptical about the injury. That was the big thing, because it's a rare injury that NFL players don't typically have. So you'd like to see it more because it's such a crucial position for this team. But obviously bringing in Jalen Moore as well helps out. Let's not forget about this guy and what he can do. So I want to see that. But no, it works out best for this football team if he's ready to go. But I just question, are you really ready to go full speed at the beginning of St. Joe?
And we'll find out late next month when they're up in St. Joe.
Will he get a snow cone?
If he comes on the show. Yeah, you got to come on the show to get a snow cone. That's the rule. Now, what happened sometimes is, some of the other teammates hear about the snow cone and they just come over. But I think the rule, you got to come on the show.
I understand he did go against top competition against Ohio State, but that's the number one thing you hear from guys in the NFL is about the mental game of it. I mean, we all know they can hit. They have contact in it. I mean, more contact in high school and less than that in college. Then when you get the pros, even less contact in practice. It's really a mental thing with all these players. But, man, to a man, most rookies, they talk about the speed. Like every single rookie you talk about will talk about the speed difference in the NFL compared to college. Even these guys come from big schools, man. I mean, some, come from, the MAC and whatever. But a lot of these guys come from big-time, top institutions, and they will all tell you to a man the speed is much different.
No question. I also think, though, if you are a Chiefs fan and you're saying, what's best case scenario? It's that Josh Simmons is healthy enough, day one of training camp, he goes and wins the job and is a starting left tackle. That's best case scenario.
Best case scenarios, you don't have to worry about left tackle.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Perfect world, things don't always happen. Chiefs went through most of the season with their 1 and 2 receivers as well. Things happen.
Do you think he'll actually be? Because this was Bink when he got drafted.
They announced Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from Ohio State.
I hate this pick, actually. Don't like it. Don't like it.
I mean, that's still one of my favorite moments of the last couple months.
They're just raw in the moment.
I know. That's what I
raw in the moment.
I mean, in the system,
but honestly though, you hope it works out. Though I do. I definitely think it does. I'm 100% rooting for this kid.
Yeah,
100% rooting for him. Seeing him in St. Joe.
I hate this pick. Actually, don't like it.
You know, they've been wrong before. They're rarely wrong. I hope it works out.
Yeah, I know. I'm giving you a hard time. Look, I hope, and everybody probably does, right? It was funny. That was.
You guys didn't play this when I wanted them to draft Mahomes. No one played this when I said that because everybody wanted Deshaun.
You wanted Deshaun Watson.
No.
Big wanted Deshaun Watson.
In this town, in this media, they wanted Deshaun Watson. I wrote the first article ever on 610 Sports when we switched this to a new website. It was about the Chiefs drafting Mahomes, and it was around the Big 12 tournament time. But nobody plays when I want them to draft Mahomes. Nobody plays that. Nobody.
Yeah, we don't have audio of that, Big. That never happened.
Oh,
it never happened.
It never happened. Yeah.
If we don't have audio of it, it did not happen.
Didn't happen.
Nope. Mm-hmm. By the way, I think Chris Jones.
But I truly hope
we had some audio issues there, so I don't know if we'll be able to get Chris Jones before we get off the air today, unfortunately. But
and here's the one thing about Jones:
Yeah.
he's a team leader. He's a funny dude too. Like
Oh,
his
yeah.
press conference, he's the best because he's just so funny.
Yeah.
Like, he's also the best at what he does, which is awesome. I always thought he was just kind of right behind Aaron Donald. And in my mind, as soon as Aaron Donald retired, he kind of took that torch. Now you have other guys coming up now, clearly, but Chris Jones, from not being a first-round pick to what he's doing now, is unbelievable. How important he's been to this team.
Someone says, Goldie should have been at the draft party at the practice facility when they drafted Dontari Poe back in the day. They'll never forget hearing 20,000 people boo and immediately walk out. Back when they drafted him, when they used to do the huge draft watch parties. Now they've made it more of a season ticket.
I remember I was down there with Fanning. He was at TV5 at the time, and I was with 610 at the time. I jumped when they got Fisher because the big argument was Fisher
that
or
draft
Joker.
class just was bad.
Yeah.
In hindsight, Eric Fisher ended up, if you look at who else they could have taken.
Well, Lane Johnson ended up being pretty damn good.
Yeah, those are the two, though, man. The rest was pitiful.
Well, Lane Johnson and Fisher turned out.
That's what I'm saying. Those were the only. Everybody else was pitiful. That draft sucked. They actually did pretty damn well if you look at what Eric Fisher's career ended up being.
The one thing about Jokel is because he had played in the Big 12 plus the SEC.
He got out of the league quick
because they converted to both, right?
How many years did Jokel end up playing?
And Fisher had the MAC.
How many years do you think Jokel ended up playing in the league?
Oh,
because that was the whole debate.
Probably
that year.
1 or 2.
He's just now 33. Just to give you an idea, and you haven't heard his name in years. He last played in 2017.
Fisher had a problem in college.
He played in 50 games. He played in 50 games in the
coaching staff had to wake him up and give him peanut butter sandwiches in the middle of the night. Get that weight on Eric Fisher.
Oh, really?
Fisher turned out to be. I mean, that ended up being a great pick for the Chiefs. No question.
I'm totally with you. Totally with you. During the break, though, you got a text. You got a text during the break. We were talking at the end of the noon hour.
Oh.
We were asking you about dates, and you said you were playing coy.
I said I never give people's names, nothing, professions, nothing. I don't give anything.
And then
matter of fact, for years I called one of my daughters Spike.
Huh?
Oh, my youngest, I called her Spike.
Oh, okay.
I didn't give her name out. It's Spike.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fair. The kids thing I understand.
You play coy.
No, but you wouldn't even tell us for a little bit that you were talking to somebody. Then we finally got to the point where
why would I tell you guys anything?
Because it's radio. We share personal stuff on the show all the time.
I share probably too much, but
never.
I think I do.
Never.
I think I do. As far as this, it's got let's play coy.
See, she was listening to the show. It sounds like
she wasn't.
What?
Somebody that
a friend of hers.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah.
And you got to be happy about that.
Ecstatic.
Yeah, you look it. You look like you're thrilled. All right, let's talk some more Royals baseball for a little bit here before we get into what's trending and obviously our conversation with JJ Picollo earlier today. It's the start of the road trip tonight in Arlington We know where the team sits, 4 games under 500. What do you think the team looks like by the time they come back home? They're going to play a series against the Padres and the Rangers. Then they come home and they have the Rays and the Dodgers, I believe. Record-wise is one thing. Change-wise, based on the conversation you're going to hear with JJ in 15 minutes or so, there's no changes happening this week. Like there's no changes happening this week. So I don't think that the team's not going to look any different. The question is, do you think they can get closer to 500 by the time this road trip is over? Can they pick up 2 games on this road trip somehow? Can they get to 2 games under 500?
I think tonight will show a lot of that. And I felt that way when they were in St. Louis. Remember, they're down 7-2. They came back at 1. I was like, wow, this team's usually done when it's 3-1 or something like that. They're not coming back and win. I thought that might change things. But if they go down there tonight and all of a sudden Jack gets hot, starts hitting home runs, Bobby Witt, does the Bobby Witt Jr. type of thing. Sal Perez maybe starts to turn around. Then he continues to hit the baseball like he's done so great. Player of the month last month. If they go down there and do that and win big and create some separation, I think we got to say, okay, this team has a chance maybe to pick up 2 games. But as we sit right now, I would say, can they return just 4 games under?
Just a 500 road trip?
No, I look at, can they come back 4 games under like they are going out on?
So basically a 500 road.
Yeah, tonight they go out and look great. You have to change your perception and you have to change how you think they're going to do on the road trip. But if they go out and get rolled, then you're sitting there going, let's hope to get back 4 games under.
Yeah, 3 against the Rangers, 3 against the Padres. I know you want better than this, but
a lot of it dictates
3-3 road trip. Obviously, you would love to sit at a 4-2 road trip. If you somehow were a 4-2 road trip, would be incredible considering how they've been playing.
You win tonight, that's possible. You
Lugo
tonight,
yeah,
it's still possible, but not likely.
Yeah, the Rangers. I mean, the record stuff is weird at this point for their opponents because, as you pointed out, like the A's had a worse record, didn't matter. They still got beat. It almost is. The Yankees clearly is just a team you watch, and like the Royals are not on their level. They weren't on their level last year either.
I mean, the Yankees have been slapped around, and that's
but the Rangers,
better team than the Red Sox.
I mean, the Rangers have won 7 of their last 10. They're actually, if you compare them to some of the other teams, they're one of the quote unquote hotter teams in the American League. The only team hotter in the American League than the Rangers is actually the Red Sox. The Red Sox, and that's why the Devers trade is weird. But the Red Sox have won 8 of 10.
The Rays are playing really good too.
Yeah, the Rays have also won 7 of 10. The Rangers have won 7 of 10, and the Astros have won 7 of 10. That's what I'm saying. So the Rangers, other than the Red Sox, are tied for the second hottest team in the American League right now.
Not catching them at a good time is what you're saying.
They're 500, though, the Rangers, as you said, 36.
Well, the good news for the Royals, the best news is, if you look at the 10-game stretch, the Royals are 2-8 in that stretch. But Minnesota and Cleveland are right there with you. They're 2-8 through the stretch as well. No, what I'm saying is, when the Royals are playing extremely well, winning, 16 out of 18 or whatever, remember how good Minnesota was during that stretch? They weren't gaining any ground because Cleveland and Minnesota were playing just as well right with them. It's just kind of weird how they're all kind of coming back to the pack, and they're all playing the same, which is great news for the Royals. This would be a terrible time for the Minnesota Twins to go on a 7-8 game winning streak, or Cleveland doing that, right? And Detroit's just gone 500. They're 5-5 in their last 10, but they're still gaining ground. They're still getting ground, even with that record, +3 over those teams, even going 5-5 in their last 10. But it is somewhat good news that Cleveland and Minnesota are playing just like the Royals.
Does Jack Caglione get his first MLB home run on this road trip? They're playing in Texas, and then they go and play out west in San Diego. Does he get his first one? We know the team as a whole just has no power right now.
Caglione, I thought he'd have one before. I keep
I'd be lying
every
to
single
you.
game. So I would say yes, because I do think he's going to get it, because I keep saying yes with Jack.
I think so. I mean, I would have said the same thing last week, though, in fairness. Like, I mean, he's going to eventually hit one. But I would be lying to you if I told you, what are we, 12 games in? It's still only 12. That he didn't have a home run after. If you would have told me that 3 weeks ago, I would have said no chance that he doesn't have one. But that speaks to some of the other concerns with just where maybe the hitting is at with this club at this point in time. I am shocked he doesn't have a home run. I know there's a huge leap from AAA to the big leagues. Totally understand that.
It's another leap, by the way.
But I'm still very surprised that we're sitting here and he doesn't have one.
I guess I'm optimistic as Nick Kurtz, was selected just 2 picks before Jack.
He got off to a slow start too.
He did, but he's got back-to-back 9th inning walk-off home runs for the A's. That encourages me. When you see that guy, starting to coming around, the Red Sox, Roman that they just called up was hitting 6.69, finally hit a home run last night. That was good for him. But when you see Nick Kurtz doing what he's doing, I'm like, okay. Like, you think of that, when you see that, you think of Jack. Like
indoor ballpark tonight, it feels like this is the spot. One of the next 3 games in Texas.
Remember, it's retractable.
It's probably hot as hell and humid down there. I bet you that thing's closed, don't you think? In June, Texas, I'm guessing that thing is close.
What is the temperature in Arlington?
I remember when I was
Let's
check Arlington. When I was in Houston, they would have that retractable roof in Houston open at Minute Maid. Now it's called something else. They would have it open for like 1 week the whole year.
It's only 90 degrees.
What's the weather?
It's currently 90. Feels like 90. Hang on. Feels like 91. The UV index is extreme.
Yeah,
No, here's the thing.
There's no way that roof is open in Dallas or Arlington.
At 2 p.m., 93. At 5, 93. At 8, 93. But get this. At 11, it goes up to 94. It's just keeps getting hotter there.
That's Texas, man. We can talk about
22 miles an hour, it says.
The humidity that we have here.
What's the barometric pressure?
With the humidity that we get here. But I'm telling you, in Houston, you'd go out and just walk your dog for like 5 minutes, and your back would just start sweating, like in July and August. It was miserable.
Would the dog sweat?
I mean, I assume a
dogs
dog
don't usually sweat.
I don't know. I didn't really check, Bink.
Did you get one off?
She didn't wipe her forehead off, if that's what you're asking. You know, I don't know.
Well, I've never seen a dog sweat.
Yeah, I mean,
Did they pant? Did she pant?
Well, of course. Yeah, you got to be careful too. Their
that's
paws,
kinda how they sweat.
and you got to be careful. The paws will burn.
The paws get real hot.
But no, the weather in Texas there's no chance that roof is opening up the rest of the season in Texas. Probably.
Yeah, closed. Couldn't grow grass in that place.
That probably feels
Everybody says
great,
the
too. Are you
inside.
kidding me?
Everybody says the inside is beautiful. The outside looks like
awesome.
Outside looks like a Menards, but the inside is beautiful, supposedly.
Yeah, I like Menards. I think they look great. The bottom line is, I love behind home plate and stuff. The clubs they have, the people just sitting there.
That's what I'm saying. The inside,
just having their brews, watching
Bink
the game.
didn't even want to
Those
go to
seats
the game.
look
Bink
awesome.
just wants to pull up a chair outside and just watch the Menards. You just want to observe the Menards.
You know what? Here's the one thing about Menards. They've got everything. But there's a lot of space between where you park and go in because you got to come out a different place. So it's like, where do you park? Do you park on one side or the other? Would you rather walk a lot in the beginning or walk a lot at the end? So
these are the great
there's decisions when you go to Menards. But as far as aesthetically looking at the building, I think Menards look fine.
Yeah, for a baseball stadium, I'm not so sure. But yeah, no, shout out to Menards, man.
They got a lot of candy and
We
everything.
have a veterinarian that is texted in.
Oh. But the dog paws?
Dogs can't sweat. They pant and slobber.
See,
Bink.
that's what I thought.
That's how
I didn't say
that's
they
how
sweat.
they get the heat
I
off of
didn't.
them.
I was joking with him. I said, did your dog sweat? Then I said they pant. I said panting is how dogs sweat.
Yeah, that's how
I
they,
didn't say
they
the
get.
dog
That's
was
how they
sweating.
cool
I was
themselves
joking.
down. They cool themselves
I was
down.
joking.
Yeah.
Watch their feet, man. It's very hot.
Bink is in for Cody for 5 more shows.
Who's down dancing in Texas?
He's daughter's dancing in Texas. He could go to the game tonight if he wanted to. I don't know if he is. He's right there.
I don't know.
Fort Worth is right there.
I guarantee he's dancing.
Do you think he could convince the fam to?
Why not? There's no way tickets are that expensive to see the Rangers and Royals tonight.
It is
No
Lugo
chance.
versus Leiter.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you think tickets
Look
are?
at all these text line, man. I know the dogs don't sweat.
I'll say $20.
They pant. Their
Yeah,
tongue
no,
comes
yeah.
out. I'm not saying. I was joking about the dog sweating.
They're just trying to educate you, Bink.
I know the dogs can't sweat.
$25. It's also the
Oh,
reason
there
why. The reason why tickets are even that. I think it looks like the Rangers have 2023 World Series final out something.
Oh,
giveaway.
there you go. It's a giveaway.
Final out bobblehead tonight. there at Rangers Stadium.
bobbleheads always bring in the walk-ins.
For the Rangers game down there. Yeah, $26 upstairs seats.
That's still not bad.
Yeah, I bet you can get downstairs pretty easily.
Can you get the club behind home plate?
I don't know. Bobby's
beer in your
family,
hand.
I'm sure. Bobby Witt's family, I'm sure, will all be down
Can
there.
Cody
in
get down there
Texas.
and dance for us behind the camera and the pitcher?
Oh, gosh.
Like dance behind Lighthearted and sing his Jack song?
He better hope they start winning because when he comes back, the first thing I'm mentioning is the Royals are winless since his Jack Caglione song happened.
Oh, hang on a second. If he's back in a week and a half
He could
and they
bring that
still
down to
haven't won
Texas.
yet since that song,
Well, they
that'd
still
be
haven't won that.
crazy.
Then there's no more question about what they got to do.
No more singing then if that happens. Seriously.
Yeah. Or
You
Jack
just can't allow it.
If Jack Caglione doesn't hit a home run by the time he comes back, then the song
That's the one.
that's a problem too. I think he's gonna.
Usually he's been
think
good
he's
at
gonna
it.
hit a home run. Actually, this series, I might even put a little money on a home run tonight. I actually think it's gonna happen tonight.
From the 75, Bink gives his dog a shave.
Listen, I know dogs don't freaking sweat.
I don't think you do.
joking with
I don't think
Alex.
you know, man.
No, because I even said it. I said panting is a form of
No,
sweating.
you said, does your dog sweat or does she
I
pant?
was joking about your dog sweating.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a dog sweat, although I have seen a dog's hair get kind of wet. When it's real humid.
Why is it?
When it's real humid or
why
whatever.
would that happen?
When you pet a dog, they start smelling a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. I know dogs don't sweat.
Uh-huh.
I'm just wondering.
Well, I don't think that.
I don't, man.
I'm waiting,
dude.
I'm waiting for you to say something that you're going to regret, Bink. That's what I'm laughing at. I'm waiting for you to say something.
Yo, man. I got the dumb button right here. See how fast you can push it.
If you type his name, Gold. If you just type in Bink.
Man. Don't play that.
Type in
I don't know what
Bink.
the hell
It's
it is.
just there's at least 15 drops in here. At least.
See, it's not my fault. You never cut your own.
Oh, we got plenty of our drops.
No, but I mean Drew.
Oh, there's plenty for Drew in there. Don't think that there's
There are a
Ask
lot.
Drew. I play plenty of his drops all the time.
It's right there,
Drew,
Alex. Touch it.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
naked a lot.
Drew's got plenty of drops.
I wanted to beat machine.
Excuse me? Yeah.
I played with stiff
There's
shafts.
juice all over the place.
Anyway, up next. Goodness gracious. We'll get a quick what's trending in. Then you'll hear our conversation with the general manager of the Kansas City Royals. We asked him about where this team is at, what their plan might be moving forward with the trade deadline, and their confidence in the hitting staff. That's next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hi, folks. Bob at Blue Springs Ford. Blayton, you look like you have something to say.
I do. It's our free lifetime powertrain warranty. That includes 24-hour, 7 days a week, every day of the year for 10 years, roadside assistance.
Well, that was a mouthful.
We're talking towing, fuel, oil, water delivery to you, lockout assistance, battery service, flat tire support, emergency assistance.
Folks, if you don't come see us today,
then you'll miss out on our free lifetime warranty.
I'm a call with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about every vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty?
What about guarantees?
A lifetime warranty should handle that. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
One of my favorite things to do at Hy-Vee is saving money on gas. And this weekend, I'm in luck. This Saturday, June 21st and Sunday, June 22nd, earn a 30-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 grocery purchase at Hy-Vee. And Hy-Vee isn't just saving us money at the pump. They're lowering prices in every department. And on top of that, you can save on fuel as well. So this weekend, stock up for summer and stack up those fuel savings this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Nothing tastes better than sweet summer corn or a juicy ripe watermelon. Indulge yourself in the fresh taste of summer this Thursday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. We're rolling back prices on your favorite produce like sweet corn, 4 for $1, avocados just 69 cents, seedless grapes 99 cents a pound, candy cantaloupe $1.99, and russet potato 5-pound bags just $1.48. Stock up on all the juicy deals during the mega produce sale this Thursday through Sunday only at Hy-Vee.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Say goodbye to dealerships and private sale tire kickers when you sell your car to GiveMeTheVin.com. Now we're even better with the GiveMeTheVin.com big cash giveaway. Win $25,000 in cash every month. Sell us your car to increase your odds of winning. No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
The Other Place, Shawnee, Olathe, Downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. Come hang out on the patio and listen to some great live music at most locations Thursday through Saturdays. Enjoy some great food and also some incredible beer specials. Make The Other Place your summer headquarters. The Other Place and theotherplace.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Add some star-spangled style to your summer with Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale going on now. Shop Hot Buys for every room in your home, now just $6.99. Plus, you can save up to $1,000 store-wide. And don't miss upgrading your patio. Save up to 20% on select outdoor furniture. Or feel the freedom to buy now and pay over time with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
You could think you found your dream home online, but here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Right now, get a $15 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro refrigerant products at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. The Royals begin their road trip tonight in Arlington, taking on the Rangers. Seth Lugo gets the nod tonight. He'll go up against Jack Leiter. 7:05 first pitch. Vern's on deck show. 6 o'clock right here. 96.5 The Fan.
Loved Vern this weekend, just kind of spelling out kind of how we all felt after that A's series. Can they turn that corner in Texas? I know a lot of people are expecting changes. Those changes didn't happen. What are those changes be? You know, it wasn't going to be the manager. You know, they're not going to go out and make a big trade for this Texas series, but they changed the hitting coach. That's something they could have done. You would love to see them make ground from being 4 games under 500 like they are now. And I think tonight goes a long way. You get that first one under your belt, you start feeling good. The Rangers, like you said, have been playing good baseball. But there's good teams on the horizon for the Royals, but that doesn't mean they're not going to beat them. I mean, we saw the A's sweep the Kansas City Royals, and they didn't have 30 wins, and they went in and swept the Kansas City Royals, so anything happens. But I think tonight is a step in that right direction. Listen, they had the players-only meeting Saturday. Looked like Sunday was going to be their day. Noah Cameron then comes out of the game, and then boom, the Royals end up losing to the A's, and things were disappointing because you had that meeting. You can't have players-only meeting all the time. You had it once. See if it parlays itself. They had a nice day of rest yesterday. Looking forward to tonight. Also tonight, speaking of tonight, the Stanley Cup final. 3-2, Panthers up on Edmonton. They could wrap it up tonight. This is the 3rd straight Stanley Cup of the Florida Panthers, but I know the NFL a ton more popular than the NHL, but I haven't heard any complaints about the Panthers always winning.
Yeah, I'll be watching tonight. I'll be watching the Royals game tonight against the Rangers, but I'll be keeping an eye on the Florida Panthers Edmonton Oilers game, see if the Panthers wrap this thing up. It'll be a rough one for cash out, bro, if that actually happens.
That's actually a great storyline.
Yeah, it adds to it. It definitely adds to it. Lastly, on What's Trending, as we mentioned, Chiefs minicamp going on. Just a couple notes from that. Trey Smith was there. Travis Kelce was there. Everybody was there. We heard a little bit from Josh Simmons. Also, just a couple notes from some of the reporters on the ground there. I'll give credit to, I think it was Mackenzie Nelson. I also saw Matt McMullen tweeting out, talking about Rashee Rice and Kelsey each hauling in a couple touchdowns during red zone drills, things like that. Also, Shamari Connor, I guess, was impressive today during 7-on-7s. Hollywood Brown said he feels 100% heading into the season, and he's excited to showcase what he can do. That's one quote. Thanks to Matt McMullen for putting that out there as well. That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. If you guys have been listening, you can obviously tell Jay Binkley filling in for Cody. You're back with us again tomorrow as well.
I was listening.
And so, no, I mean, people, no, you.
I know, I'm joking with you.
This is the way that it's just going to be the rest of the week.
Yes, Bink. Yes. If people are listening, they can tell it's you speaking, not Cody. You know what? Actually, here, can you do this for us? You're filling in for Cody through next Wednesday, right?
I'll be here.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be with you Monday, Tuesday,
yes,
every Thursday, of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're all off on Thursday. So, and it's just Drew and you on this Friday. By next Wednesday, can you do a song?
Hell no.
Come on.
Why not?
You're in that seat. I feel like you're in that seat. You should do it.
Hey,
I will not sing That's Cody's thing.
I will beatbox for you and everything. It'll be great.
You know Drew can beatbox.
I know he can. I've heard him, but I won't be singing.
I think you're in that chair. You got to sing.
No, it's a Cody thing, man. Cody's the singer on the show. Let's just let Cody have his time, man.
Okay, all right. Just
I don't
asking,
need to, belt out anything that's great,
I could see you singing a little country song.
I could. It would be good, but I'm not going to do it.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate it, Thanks.
Oh, I might.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I'm not counting on it. Earlier today, the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, joined us. We went through a wide variety of topics of the current state of the Kansas City Royals, a lot of the things you guys have been questioning, a lot of the things that you guys are wondering about what they're going to do in the future. We started the conversation, though, with JJ asking him about the players-only meeting and what, as a general manager, your reaction is to that.
Well, to be honest, very, very happy that they did. They're obviously feeling some pressure right now. Obviously, we're not playing as well as we're capable of playing. And, the coaches do as much as they can day to day. And one of the things we try to maintain is consistency in our practices, in our routines. So the coaches are always doing their part. But it means a lot more when somebody like Salvi or Bobby or Vinny, whoever, was the lead voice in that. It means a lot more when it's coming from the players because they're holding themselves accountable. And I thought it was a very positive sign.
One thing too, JJ, I look back, in the Royals run earlier, in 14 and 15, and you think about Moose and his voice, like it was always in there. And then when he started to perform and do some things, like he let that voice come out a little bit more. We saw it a lot in Houston. Do guys have to get to a certain point, or can they kind of do this whenever if they've earned that respect?
Well, I think there's very few guys that from the day they step into a major league clubhouse have the confidence to be that guy. So it does take a little bit of track record, a little bit of history, a little bit of momentum, playing well over a year or two where you can settle in and sort of be the guy that you always were. I mean, let's face it, most of these guys are the best players on their team their entire lives. So when they said something, if they were that emotional leader, it always carried some weight. But now you're in a major league clubhouse where everybody was the best player on their team. So you got to kind of earn your stripes before you're going to do something like that. And it took most a few years to do it. And, no different than, other players that we've been around over many years.
Do you think they work? Like, do you think players-only meetings can truly shift the way things are going?
Well, I think it depends on the content of the meeting and how it goes. My understanding was this was a very positive meeting. There wasn't any finger pointing. It was just like, guys, we got to get going here. Like we're underperforming right now. I think it can help, because again, that accountability piece is being voiced. But when it really comes down to it, you still got to play the game. Right now we're not playing as aggressively as we typically do. That was one of the things last year. You all remember the boys are playing some ball. That was a mantra because we were playing great defense. We were running the bases well. We were getting runners in, and the boys were playing some ball, and that's something that has to happen on the field. You can verbalize it all you want, but at some point it has to become actionable. But having a meeting like that where the leaders speak up and the veterans speak up is a step in that direction because we're acknowledging that we're not doing those things and we need to get back to it.
You mentioned the coaching, and I think when an offense is performing the way you guys are right now and really have for the entirety of the season at this point in time, folks outside the organization look at the players first and foremost, but then they also start looking maybe at the hitting coaches and the philosophy in terms of the organization when it comes to that. You still have plenty of confidence in where your approach is as an organization and with the hitting coaches in place right now?
I do. I mean, we've known these guys for a lot of years. They've done a wonderful job. I mean, two of the three that are in the trenches every day, we're with these guys going through the minor leagues. They've built relationships. They have trust in each other. Players have trust in them. They feel it just as much as the players do, and they want to, wave the magic wand and try to figure out what each guy needs. But really, it's just staying positive right now, understanding the history between the coaches and the players. And the reminders. Nobody knows our current hitters as well as the guys in our batting cages every day. I mean, they live with them every day. They understand their swings. They understand what makes them tick. And now it's just a matter of trying to tweak some things here and there, but also stay positive. You've got to stay positive through these tougher times. And I know we have the right guys that will stay positive, and they put the work in every day. I can tell you this. Today in Texas is not going to look any different than last year in Texas as far as the energy and the positivity and our processes. But now the challenge is a little bit greater because the confidence, is wavering a little bit. But all it takes is one little good run offensively to get that confidence back, and you just go play baseball.
Yeah, because we've seen several teams do that here at the moment. But JJ, how tough is this right now in the front office when you think about preparing for the draft? You're looking at free agents. You're looking at things. Now there's the extra wild card that we've had the last couple of years in baseball. So conceivably, a lot of teams think they're still in it. How big of a challenge is that for the front office to do that, plus all your draft work, and you're looking at these free agents? It's got to be a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I think if you ask most general managers and front offices, we really enjoyed the draft being in June. So That's not the case anymore. But it makes for a busy month. We're getting into, this week's the combines in Arizona. Then you've got draft meetings starting the first week of July and leading up to the draft in the middle of July. And literally we'll flip our strategy room. We'll flip it over from draft to trade deadline stuff. But for our front office, a few of us, we're working parallel tracks. We're not involved day to day with the draft. We know what's going on. Some guys are out seeing players, and then we have another group that's working on, trade ideas. What are we going to do at the deadline? So there's a few of us in the front office that run those parallel tracks, and we found a rhythm with it. It's not the first year we're doing it, but we found a rhythm with it, and it puts a little bit more on you, but that's what we're all dealing with. But we're no different than any other team in baseball. We're all dealing with the same thing, and it's just our responsibility to do those things and pull off a draft successfully and have a successful draft deadline, trade deadline.
Yeah. How tough is that, though, JJ, when you look at these teams? Because, like I said, a lot of these teams still feel like they're in it. Their fan base still thinks they're in it because now with the extra wild card, you have a lot of teams that are kind of still sitting there, have to make decisions. Do they go forward or back? That's got to create a lot of confusion with front offices. And when you look at players thinking, well, is this team going to sell or not?
Yeah, no, you run that emotional high and low. You think you're going to be buyers and you think you're going to be sellers. And if you're right at 500, what do you believe that your team is going to do the rest of the year? So it is really difficult. And the hard part right now for all front offices is there are so many teams that are in it that you don't know if they're going to be buyers, sellers, or stand put. So you're going to do all your planning, but until you get to, I think it's going to be a very late, a lot of action late in July, more so than we've seen in the past. But if you have a bunch of teams that are 3-4 games out of the wild card, at the American League right now, it's really all but I think 3 teams that should believe they're going to make the playoffs. So you wouldn't expect a lot of, heavy trading to happen in early July. So I really think, when it happens, if it happens, it's going to be later in July this year.
We're talking to JJ Picollo, the general manager of the Kansas City Royals. So with that said, there's some reports out there that you guys are looking for some outfield help. Now, that isn't just because the trade deadline's the end of July, and obviously it could be an active one late. doesn't mean that moves won't happen earlier, of course. So are you guys currently looking to add to this team still and be aggressive?
Yeah, well, I think we're just trying to monitor things. I mean, nobody seems to be very active right now. I know we had the big trade the other day, and that was a very unique trade for a lot of reasons. But, it doesn't seem like teams are actively shopping players right now. So you just keep evaluating things. And what we've tried to do is let's look internally. What do we have internally that maybe can pick us up a little bit? And it may not be the big bopper like, Devers being traded. But if we can add to our offense and improve on the margins, improve our defense, improve our base running, we're going to explore that first, because there doesn't seem to be a market right now where there's an outfielder available. So guys are getting opportunities right now, whether it's John Rave, Jack Caglione, they're all getting opportunities to play. And then it gives us more time to evaluate who they are and how they can impact this team in 2025. So all that's coming into, our thoughts, our processes, and really until you get somebody that is, clearly going to be trading an outfielder, we can talk about all we want, but we can't force another team to make a trade.
Understand your positioning, of course, in the standings can change drastically from this week to 3 weeks from now, but when you look outside the organization, though, and you at least try to maybe start those conversations, are you guys looking to make a deal or a player that can help you beyond 2025? Or is this an organization right now that's in a position that would still be willing to make a move if it only impacts 2025?
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer. I mean, I guess the best way to answer it is the preference is always to have control. I mean, that more years of control certainly benefits your organization. But when it comes down to it, who are the pool of players that are actually going to be traded, and what do their contracts look like? And when we get to that moment, I could better answer, if a rental player is all that's available. But you always set your sight, at least we do, on players that have more than a year of control. That was what we followed last year. Doesn't mean that's what we're going to do this year, but so much of it depends on the pool of players that are available that will help us shape that answer.
There's a report out within the last hour or so. I hate to put you on the spot a little bit here, JJ. That Mark Healy had a report in the last hour and a half or so that he's hearing Royals ownership has, I guess, told you to start thinking about trading some veteran talent. I guess your reaction to that is have you had those conversations?
Unequivocally false. That is as false as can be, and the accountability of that writer should be in question.
But answers that one. As far as who makes the final call, is it in the front office with you, JJ, and the scouts? Is it ownership? As far as the direction, how often do you guys have those conversations? Like, all right, do we push all in? Do we kind of wait? Who kind of makes that decision?
Well, I mean, ultimately it'll be myself, along with ownership, their thoughts on the team, but it'll be myself. But if you sat with us over the last 3 games, from the first inning to the 4th inning to the 7th inning, the conversation kept shifting. The emotions of the game get you thinking different ways, but ultimately it'll be baseball operations decision. And we always have good discussions with ownership, and just because we want them to be aware of what we're thinking and, collectively make a great decision.
Away from the trade stuff, I know a big topic of conversation amongst fans, and we had it certainly on our show yesterday, was about Noah Cameron, who has, of course, been an unbelievable bright spot for you guys as an organization since he has been called up. And fans maybe trying to just figure out, is it an organizational approach? Is it something on a game-by-game basis when you see, let's say Noah Cameron has an 80-pitch performance, and then there's another game where he goes 100 pitches, and fans are just trying to figure out, all right, why is he pulled out after a certain pitch count? Is that something where ahead of time you guys go into a game and know, hey, this is what we're going to dictate in terms of his pitch count, or is that just playing it out game by game, if that makes sense? Because I think fans are just a little confused.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, but when you're in the major leagues, it's hard to think about resting and getting guys through the season. Now, Noah's young, so we're aware of that. But the game, in particular that I think you're referring to, the matchup fell exactly the way we wanted to fall when he came out of the game. And our bullpen was well rested. We were lined up really well to finish that game. It just didn't happen. That game, it didn't go our way because of one bad pitch. But it lined up exactly how the coaches had talked about matchups and what we wanted. It had nothing to do with trying to limit Noah's pitch count. It was a decision made by Q that just didn't work out that night. If John Schreiber gets through that inning clean and now we roll from to Ursig and Estevez and we win the game, it's questioned a lot less. And it should be questioned. That's part of the manager's job. They have tough decisions to make through games, and that one just didn't work out. But that had nothing to do with trying to nurture and control what Noah's doing for big picture reasons.
I did want to ask you about Chris Bubich, JJ. This guy, I've always enjoyed Chris Bubich and what he can do, but this season has been incredible. And I think he kind of got hosed against the Yankees, to be honest with you, because I think there was a strikeout there that when the strikeout, then some other runs come. But to be sitting there at 5th in ERA in all of Major League Baseball, of course, that dropped last week because, well, I don't think it was all because of him. But just what kind of bright spots he been? Because you think about your rotation and then how good's Chris Bubich going to be. Then when you see how good he's going to be and what he's done to this pitching staff, just kind of what's he meant to the organization. He been your kind of biggest surprise this year?
Well, we had a lot of confidence in Chris, which allowed us to be confident in trading a starting pitcher in the offseason because we felt like Chris could step in and be part of the rotation. But I would be lying if I said we thought he would be in the top 5 in baseball and how he's performing. When you look at Chris's whole body of work, we really thought he was starting to turn the corners as a starter prior to the Tommy John. Then he got hurt, he missed his time, and now he seems to – it's almost like he didn't miss any time. The command's better. He's got an additional pitch in the slider. He's always used his changeup well. He's starting to locate in on right-handed hitters at a more efficient rate than he did prior to the injury. So things are just coming together, and then you throw in sort of the X factor, and that's Chris's baseball IQ. I mean, he's a very intelligent person, period. But when it comes to his baseball IQ and trying to understand how he can execute a game plan, work his way through a lineup, I think that is something that may separate him from a lot of other young pitchers in the game. But it's been outstanding to see, and who knows where we would be without all of our starting pitchers doing what they're doing, and our bullpen pitching pretty well. Without the pitching, this may look a little more bleak than it does right now. We're still in it, and glad that the pitching's come through.
JJ Picollo, Royals General Manager, joins us here on 96.5 The Fan every couple weeks. We appreciate it, JJ. Thanks.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
So that was JJ Picollo earlier today. As you guys can tell, if you were listening to that, a lot of different things that we addressed there, and a lot of things I think fans have been talking about, and whether it was the Noah Cameron decisions a few times that have been different in each outing, and what's the reason behind that. And then I think more interestingly, towards the front end of that conversation, just about the players only meeting aspect. And, for those, including myself, that have talked about, hey, to make a change with the hitting staff like that, they're not going to do that, at least at this point in time.
Not going to do it. We'll see what happens on this road trip.
Yeah.
See if they lose further ground from 4 back, get to 6 back, then you have to make a change at that point. Now, if you can gain some ground, you start feeling, okay, guys are starting to buy into what they're saying, because clearly it worked last year. Can it work this year? Well, it hasn't this far. I'm a big fan of what happens on June 1st, which we're past that. Like, you are who you are at some point. But we'll see what they do.
The trade stuff is tricky just because of the spot they're in as 4 games under 500, 3 games back of a playoff spot. But then, truly, nobody is really selling yet. And that includes them, right? But nobody is really selling yet. So even if you want them to take it an approach to go buy, those guys that have been floated out, even Cedric Mullins, Eugenio Suarez, a couple, is it Jesus Sanchez or whatever? I don't know his last name. If it's Sanchez or Sanchez down with the Marlins organization.
These teams are sitting within 7 games.
Yeah.
Most of them 3.5.
Right, and that's what's tricky right now. And that's why I think a lot of the trade, sell, buy stuff, we're going to have to wait. We're just going to have to wait. And that's why this road trip feels so massive. You're going into it with a 6-game losing streak, so that already puts pressure on it.
That's why I think tonight's so important.
But what do you do over the next 6 games? 3 against the Rangers, 3 against the Padres. When you come back next Monday, I guess it would be, or Tuesday's when the first game, I think off day Monday, but next Tuesday against the Rays, are you 6 games under 500, Bink, or have you had a 4-2 road trip and all of a sudden, all right, you're 2 under and you're back to being a game and a half out of a spot and the whole vibes are different? Or does it go south and it's a terrible